Good morning and welcome to the East Cyber Mission National Student Showcase. I am Erica Bertoli and I'm thrilled to be here for the 2020 showcase. I have to tell you, National East Cyber Mission is always my favorite event of the year. And I was just so happy that I was going to be able to see all of these amazing students and their innovative projects, even virtually this morning. So thank you for joining us for Showcase. I want to thank all of our distinguished guests, parents, families, and friends who are joining us virtually. And I'd also like to welcome our team advisors to this event. And of course, none of this would be possible without our incredible students. So welcome, students. For those of you watching, don't forget, make sure you're letting your voice be heard. Click on the link in the description on the live stream page and vote for your favorite team for the 2020 People's Choice Award. You'll have until 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time to submit your votes, and the team with the most votes will be named our 2020 People's Choice. Now, you have to understand this is a very, very big deal because not only does the team get bragging rights, which within this room is a very big deal given the caliber of excellence here, but every member of the People's Choice team will receive an iPad donated by the National Science Teachers Association. So let's give a big thank you to NSTA and let's all make sure we are voting for our favorite team. We also want to make sure that we get the word out and we get lots and lots of people voting. So go ahead and share that link with family and friends, tweet it, post it to Facebook, whatever the new cool social media is, get it out there. But whatever you do, make sure when you post it, you're using the hashtag EastCyber20. So now, before we introduce the teams, we want to acknowledge this year's team advisors. The students here are clearly a product of your dedication, commitment, and your willingness to help them realize their potential. The work here is theirs, but the path here was paved by you. So let's give our team advisors a round of applause and thank them for all that they've done. This morning is a unique opportunity for the teams to strut their stuff and show off all of their great ideas. I will tell you, these science projects are a far cry from what I did back in the day when I was in school. And every year, I'm just blown away by the innovation, the creativity, and the talent of the East Cyber Mission students. And this year is absolutely no different. All of you kids are absolutely incredible. You've worked hard and you made it all the way to nationals, and that is an extraordinary accomplishment. And for those of you who don't understand just how incredible what these students have already accomplished is, I'd like to share a few facts about this year's eCyber Mission competition. This year, a total of 14,245 students participated in the eCyber Mission. There were 578 team advisors, and there were 2,923 teams from all 50 states, U.S. territories, and the DoDEA schools overseas. There were 126 first and second place winning teams at the state level and 59 regional finalist teams. 1,547 volunteer virtual judges, 28 regional judges, and 9 STEM in Action judges volunteered their time to review mission folders, listen to regional judging presentations, and review the STEM in Action grant proposals. So we started with 14,245 registered students, and today we have 7 students from 24 teams representing our nationals. So let's take a minute to congratulate these incredible students. Students, you've gotten to hear from both DoD professionals and AEOP alumni this week. You've gotten to work with your SME mentors and your NCO mentors. And one thing that you have been told by all of them is how much our country needs more scientists and engineers. The United States of America is only as strong as our innovation. There's not an aspect of our life that is not impacted by the quality of our technology. Our national security, our environment, our healthcare, all of it will require a new generation of excellence in science and engineering. And I have to tell you, if you represent the new class of scientists and engineers, I know the future of this nation is in excellent hands. So, are we ready to get started? I bet everyone is ready to see what you've been doing. So let's review for a minute how everyone can vote for our People's Choice Awards today. In the description on the YouTube channel, there is a link. You're going to click on that link and use that to cast your vote. Only one vote can be cast per email address. So make sure that you're voting, and make sure that you vote before 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because that's when voting will be closed. Once you voted, make sure you tell everyone else to vote, and make sure you're using hashtag eCyber20 to tell your friends, your neighbor, your third grade teacher, whoever it is that you want to vote, make sure they're getting on that. The point is, the more the merrier. So today we are going to go through all of our student projects. We are going to start with our STEM in Action grant recipient teams. So let me tell you a little bit about our STEM in Action grants. As the teams know, all of the regional finalist teams are eligible to compete for a STEM in Action grant. For everyone watching, you should know that regional finalists had the opportunity to create a proposal that outlines the team's plans to implement their ideas in the community. A select group of STEM in Action judges evaluate and score those proposals and the implementation plans. This year, the top 10 teams were awarded the AEOP STEM in Action grant. Each of the 10 selected teams received an award up to $5,000 and were invited to participate in this week's National Judging and Educational event. STEM in Action grant recipient teams can be, but are not always, national finalist teams. In addition, eCyber Mission will work with the STEM in Action teams over the next year to help them bring their ideas to life. This year's STEM in Action grant recipients represent all 4 competition grade levels, and we are going to start our showcase this morning by highlighting their incredible work. So is everyone ready? All right, here we go. Our first STEM in Action team is JANS. JANS are 6th graders from Virginia representing our Northeast region. In addition to being a STEM in Action grant recipient, JANS is also one of our 20 national finalist teams. JANS is led by team advisor Heather Jackson, and the students on JANS are Jimmy Doe, Sita Bombadakar, Niraj Dadamundi, and Anish Jasula. JANS created an innovative, easy, cheap, portable, and eco-friendly water filter to combat the water pollution crisis in the world. They incorporated different items in their stackable, canister-based filter that would help to clean water, such as cilantro, which let water through and absorbed heavy metals, and charcoal to filter out dirt and bacteria. The stackable canisters snap together and can be removed to incorporate other materials for filtration. From Stonehill Middle School in Ashburn, Virginia, please welcome JANS.
Hey Sita, how was your Boy Scout hike?
Scary. We got lost in the forest. Luckily, we had clean drinking water, but others may not be so fortunate.
So true. Welcome everyone, this is Team Jans and we are very excited to present you our project, the Stackle Filter. Today, about 780 million people on Earth, including 1.6 million in the US, do not have clean drinking water. Even the Potomac River in our region is heavily polluted in many parts. Our mission is to make a modular, portable, stackable filter. The engineering design process played a crucial role throughout our project. We research on water pollutants and filters, using a diverse range of scientific publications and materials, community residents and teachers, as well as ran an online survey. This got over 100 responses. Lead and pesticides were voted as the biggest concerns.
We analyzed the properties of harmful pollutants, including lead, arsenic, and mercury, which are all found in pesticides. In our research, we found some excellent natural filters like clay, cabbage, and cilantro. Based on our criteria and constraints, we wanted to develop a budget-friendly, eco-friendly, and reusable filter. The survey clearly showed that people prefer the filter to be the size of a small water bottle.
We tried a combination of different filter materials with water bottles and canisters. We are so proud to showcase our final Tinkercad 3D printed canister. We stacked 3 canisters, snapped them together with magnets, and then used cabbage, cilantro, and coconut fibers as filter materials. Behold, our portable and eco-friendly stacker filter was born. Our filter is very versatile as you can add easy to find filter materials in the canisters and stack them as needed for multi-layer filtration. Each test run included 6 simple scientific steps. We passed dirty water through the stack filter assembly multiple times and recorded the results.
We were thrilled to see our final test results. Our stacker filter improved the hardness and chlorine levels. It also met the EPA standards for clean drinking water. The pH level was also greater than 7, which is better for our health. We enjoyed researching various filter materials and we experimented with different prototype designs over multiple iterations. Our trial runs uncovered different problems such as charcoal getting into the water and stack canisters leaking water. Analyzing our results helps us improve our design for the next run and finally arrive at a practical solution. We publish our results through our website teamjans.com and post our trial runs on YouTube.
Our stacker filter will benefit the most in community emergencies like water outages, treatment plant shutdowns, and in incidents like the Flint water crisis. It can combat water pollution at a global level. It will also work well in personal situations like my hiking misadventure.
Excellent teamwork was a critical part of our project. Since we were all friends from school, we were able to form a team easily. Efficient planning helped us contribute to the best of our abilities. We agreed on our roles and communicated well. Together, we overcame challenges and completed tasks on time.
We are grateful that our project has been awarded the STEM in Action grant. We have a great plan and budget in place. The next steps are improving filter materials and designs, as well as partnering with aid workers. Our end goal, maximum positive impact.
A big thank you to the East Side organizers for giving us this amazing opportunity. We hope you enjoyed the presentation. This is Jimmy, Anish, Neeraj, and Sita, over and out.
Great job, Team Jans. Our next STEM in Action team is No Vape Possible. They are 6th graders from Illinois representing the North Central region. They are led by team advisor Pavna Sharma, and the team is made up of students Samil Sharma, Nedi Sagaram, and Viraj Vyas. No Vape Possible aimed to inform their community about the dangers of vaping and the detrimental effects it can have on your health. They used surveys and presentations to educate their community on what vaping is and the ill effects it can cause. In the first survey, they designed questions to gauge the understanding of vaping amongst students. The second survey focused on what people in the community learned and the choices they would make in the future. Their conclusion suggested that their project was successful. From Granger Middle School in Aurora, Illinois, please welcome No Vape Possible.
Good morning. It is an honor for Team No Vape Possible to present our project to you. Here are my teammates Samil and Viraj, and I am Nidhi. We are from Granger Middle School in Aurora, Illinois. As we were evaluating various topics, vaping stood out as an intriguing issue for us to research. In the news, vaping-related injuries and deaths were constantly reported, although it was a very hushed topic at school. We saw that between 2017 and 2018, the number of students who vaped in high school had a 78% increase, whereas middle school had a 48% increase. While researching, we learned that vaping is the act of inhaling and exhaling an aerosol produced by an e-cigarette or similar device, often mistaken for water vapor. However, it really contains many harmful chemicals like nicotine, a dangerous chemical that causes addiction and has many side effects that can lead to deadly consequences. What struck us most is that one e-liquid pod has the same amount of nicotine as a full pack of cigarettes. Other toxic chemicals include lead, used in car batteries, acetone, the main ingredient in nail polish remover, and nickel, commonly found in magnets. Viraj will now talk about our experimental process.
Thanks, Nidhi. We hypothesized that by educating our peers on the dangers of vaping, they were less likely to vape in the future. During our experimental process, we used our research in many different ways. We made a survey to see what students knew about vaping, a pre-recorded and in-person awareness presentation, a second survey to see what students had learned, and a website to reach and inform as many people as possible about the dangers of vaping. After we had finished designing, we presented at our school, libraries, and to the mayors of Naperville and Aurora. Our hypothesis states if the students are given awareness on the dangers of vaping by their peers, they'll make the right choice by not vaping, because we have deemed that peer influence is the strongest kind of influence. In our experiment, when we increased the vaping awareness from about 30% to about 90%, we observed that the average no vape possible habits increased as well. Therefore, our data supports our hypothesis. As our project drew to a close, we learned many things. We determined that both presentations we gave communicated valuable information about vaping to all the groups we presented to. One important thing we learned was that peer influence is an excellent way to help inform and change minds about vaping. Through this, we conclude that our hypothesis was proven true. Now I'm going to turn it over to Samil.
During our project, we learned that by educating all your peers on the dangers of vaping, they were less likely to vape. We wanted to expand on that in multiple different ways. We did so by giving out public awareness presentations so that people will know about vaping and its harmful effects. We also reached out to the mayors of our cities so that they were aware about the problem of vaping. Finally, we created a no vape website so that people could be informed at any time about vaping. We plan to continue our project in the future in different ways. We want to target other schools for awareness projects. We also want to enhance our No Vape website to make it look more professional. Due to social distancing, some of our future presentations will have to be done virtually via Zoom. Also, for our No Vape message to stick with the audience, we want to make tools such as pencils, wristbands, and computer stickers. Finally, we want to partner with a nonprofit organization to further our project and to improve it in general. We want to make this world a happier and healthier place for everybody, and you can do that by saying no to vaping. Thank you. If you want more information on vaping, you can scan the QR code to visit our website.
Great job, No Vape Possible. Well done. Our next STEM in Action team are the marvelous Mosquito Marauders. They're seventh graders from Virginia representing our Northeast region. The marvelous Mosquito Marauders is also one of our 20 national finalist teams. They are led by team advisor Heather Jackson, and the students on the team are AJ Penaganda, Samvrit Rao, Avni Garg, and Amulya Gadapati. The marvelous Mosquito Marauders created a crowdsourced app that will help combat the delay in disease reporting by health services to city authorities. The app will help city authorities easily locate sources of standing water where mosquitoes are breeding, along with a real-time reporting tool for local physicians to report clusters of patients who have mosquito-borne diseases to the city authorities with geolocation. From Stonehill Middle School in Ashburn, Virginia, please welcome the marvelous Mosquito Marauders.
Good morning. We are the marvelous Mosquito Marauders, and our team is composed of Avni, Amulya, Sim, and AJ. Mrs. Jackson is our team advisor. As our team name implies, our project focuses on mosquito-borne diseases. According to the CDC, over 1 million people die worldwide from mosquito-borne diseases annually, and our family and friends have been impacted by this as well. Last summer, our community in the DC suburbs experienced an increase in mosquitoes. We noticed areas of standing water as the source of this problem and reported it to our HOA. While few areas were treated, many were missed as they were in common areas without an exact address. The goal of our project was to tackle this issue, which AJ will discuss in more detail.
Standing water plays a key role in the mosquito life cycle, as mosquito eggs require water to develop into adults. After extensive research to tackle the issues about standing water, we sought and received input from leading experts in the field, Dr. Day and Dr. Clifton. Based on the research and input from experts, the first problem we identified was that the existing methods for standing water and mosquitoes breed, such as phone calls, web forms, and emails, are inaccurate and inefficient. A second problem we recognized is it takes about 2 weeks for local authorities to get information about mosquito-borne disease incidences from physicians. To validate these were important issues, we reached out and studied public health officials from the CDC and NIH. All the officials agreed that a communication gap exists, identifying mosquito breeding sources. 80% of them also concurred that an app that accurately identifies mosquito breeding areas, along with real-time information about diseases, can help authorities take prompt action. Now, Avni will discuss our solution.
To solve this problem, our solution is a crowdsourced geolocation photo-based app which enhances the accuracy of reporting standing water, increases the efficiency when reporting, and improves the speed of information transmission from physicians to local authorities. To develop the app, we followed the software development lifecycle, beginning with gathering our requirements, identifying user roles, and creating workflows. We identified 3 roles for our app: sentinel, citizen, physician, and city employee. Using our app, the citizen can log onto ArborTrack and report standing water by taking a photo of the location, uploading it, tagging the geolocation, and inputting the city and zip code of the standing water. The physician can log onto the app using their medical license ID and report disease clusters and location. The city employee, who is the end user of information provided by citizens and physicians, can subscribe to daily reports about standing water and disease clusters. Sam will now talk about the design, build, and test phases of our app.
As part of the design, we created a clickable mockup to see how users interact with our app and to envision how our app would look. Post-design, we developed our app using the Aprio framework. Following development, we conducted functional, performance, load, and device variability tests to make sure that all the components of our app worked and to analyze the performance with multiple devices and users. Here's a screen recording of our working prototype app where the citizen logs in and reports standing water location along with the photo, geolocation, city, and zip code. Using the prototype app through our field test, we were able to conclude that ArborTrack is 60% more accurate in locating standing water and 200% more efficient in reporting standing water compared to the traditional phone calls. Also, ArborTrack is 10 times faster in reporting disease data to local authorities compared to ArboNet. Now, Amelia will talk about ArborTrack's community benefit.
Mosquito-borne diseases are both local and global problems. In the United States, the number of cases reported to the CDC has tripled from 2004 to 2016. As seen on the left panel, mosquito-borne diseases may be the next pandemic the world has to face, as disease-causing mosquitoes shift northward, as reported in the 2019 Nature Microbiology study. Our solution, ArborTrack, can help mitigate this next pandemic and save millions of lives through accurate reporting of standing water and real-time disease incidents. Track us on Twitter at ArborTrack. Thank you.
And thank you to the marvelous Mosquito Marauders. Our next STEM in Action team is Lost and Found. Lost and Found are 7th graders from Oregon and are also one of our national finalist teams representing our West region. Lost and Found is led by team advisor Ananth Sankaranarayana and is made up of students Shreyas Ananth, Kapil Kakodkar, Risheb Madhusudan, and Tejaswani Dotla. Lost and Found set out to reimagine the search and rescue operation and create a cost-effective, self-charging location monitoring device as a footwear insole. Using piezoelectric pads, they converted the mechanical energy from motion to electrical energy to power their location monitoring device, which connects wirelessly to parents' or guardians' phones for a one-time cost of $100, which can be subsidized by partnering with local counties. They tested the prototype functionality in their neighborhood and received positive feedback from industry experts on production viability. From Stoller Middle School Robo-Rink in Portland, Oregon, please welcome Lost and Found.
Hi, we are Team Lost and Found, including Kapil, Teju, Shreyas, and me, Rishabh. Imagine you're relaxing at home and you're suddenly informed that your loved one or friend has gone missing. The anxiety that accompanies this situation is devastating. According to the National Crime and Information Center, 600,000 U.S. persons go missing each year, with 1/3 of them being minors. This leads to $2 billion in rescue efforts, with our home state, Oregon, ranking as the 3rd highest in the country. According to our local police department, search and rescue could be improved with a reliable tracking device. We looked into 4 different existing solutions, with most of them being animal trackers or smartphone applications. However, Missing persons generally don't carry a smartphone on them, and you don't see them running around barking. GPS-based solutions also have a low battery life. We came up with 4 constraints and considerations: lower costs, longer battery life, better reliability, and a smaller size. This has led us to ask, what can be done to cost-effectively and reliably monitor missing loved ones?
To come up with a solution, we followed a simple process of brainstorming solution ideas, using a concept map, researching 16 sources to better understand the problem, and finally developing a solution based on our research. Our team originally looked into one of the current bird tracking solutions to see how that technology could be implemented in the case of missing persons. While a similar GPS technology could be used during a design, we need to look into the possibility of a longer battery life. The concept of the third eye was born of 3 main features. 1, it's self-charging using piezoelectric pads that convert mechanical pressure to electrical energy. 2, it is able to monitor your location accurately using Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or GPS. 3, it has a compact design that fits within the shoe sole. We decided to use the Adafruit Flora Arduino as our GPS tracker. We connected the GPS tracker to the piezo pads to create our self-charging solution.
We had several criteria we need to prove in testing. First, the piezo power circuit in the power generator module should produce at least 3.3 volts to fully charge the battery pack of the third eye solution. We tested our prototype with our family and friends to measure the amount of electricity that is generated by the piezo pads. Second, the GPS module, Adafruit Flora Arduino, to reliably connect to the GPS satellites, produce location, and allow Bluetooth devices to connect to a smartphone wirelessly to plot location points in real time. To test this, we walked around our neighborhood and plotted coordinates with the Flora. And third, our solution should be compact and stick to the size of an average shoe sole. To test this, we took a cutout of a generic running shoe and measured the number of piezo pads we could apply, leaving room for circuitry and natural indentations in the sole design. After plotting the data points, we found that our solution passed all 3 criteria, proving the reliability and efficiency of our design.
The cost for a prototype is less than $200. For next steps, we are working on reducing that cost to less than $100. Additionally, we are working with our local police department on distributing our device on a larger scale. In total, our team received mentoring and advice from 5 STEM experts to understand the concepts and implementation of our solution. We further refined our device based on their feedback. We plan to improve our device by creating a companion app to help loved ones and authorities track missing persons. We are working on compacting our solution and exploring new materials to increase the comfortability of our solution. Finally, we aim for a longer GPS range similar to bird tracking solutions. Our solution will lead to lower cost investigations as well as a major emotional benefit in our communities. We presented our solution at our schools, local police department, homeless shelters, and explored the possibility of distributing our device on a larger scale. Let's reimagine search and rescue with the third eye. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Team Lost and Found. Our next STEM in Action team is CO2. They are 7th graders from North Dakota, and they are representing our North Central region. Team CO2 is led by Team Advisor Holly Erickson and is made up of students Emma Briggs, Sullivan Irie, Caitlin Hafis, and Alexa Kaloran. CO2 plans to remove phosphates from agricultural runoff by creating a biochar iron nanoparticle water filtration system. CO2 will partner not only with lead researchers at North Dakota State University, but business professionals at the Emerging Prairies Grant Farm to implement their solution. Their main goal is to have their water filtration systems placed in fields across their state to test their effectiveness and hopefully help contribute to a solution for removing phosphates from agricultural runoff. From Liberty Middle School in West Fargo, North Dakota, please welcome CO2.
Thank you, Erica. Good morning, all. Like she said, our team is CO2 by Caitlin, Alexa, Sullivan, and Emma. We are 7th graders from Liberty Middle School in West Fargo, North Dakota. We live in an agriculture-based community with lots of aerial tech businesses and farms. These groups work together to make our community better. Our project was started as a class project about removing carbon dioxide from our atmosphere. The project was focused on removing carbon dioxide from our oceans. Then later on, our teacher introduced us to Eastside Mission competition. We then formed our team and shifted our view to something more community-based since we live in North Dakota and there are no oceans. This led us to focus on area lakes and to agriculture runoff effects on them.
Thank you, Caitlin. When investigating agricultural runoff into lakes and rivers, there are various issues that occur, one of which is lack of oxygen due to increased amounts of decomposing algae. In our research, we learned that there are excess amounts of nutrients that are getting into our bodies of water that come from fertilizer in fields on farms. This is a well-known problem and is called eutrophication. Looking at the picture on the right, you can see what it does to the water, but that's not the only problem. When there's excessive algae decomposition, there is a release of carbon dioxide and methane. This adds to the surplus of greenhouse gases, and it also results in tremendous fish deaths.
Thank you, Sullivan. So this is a flowchart of the problem our community faces. The top and first part of the cycle represents the increasing amounts of phosphorus being used in fertilizers over the years. When more and more phosphorus is being used, there are more and more phosphorus concentrations in agricultural runoff. When this runoff runs into our lakes and rivers, it can cause eutrophication and the many other problems that occur with that. The long-term effects of these problems is a possible contribution in climate change. Our solution is to create an iron nanoparticle and biochar filtration system to help stop this problem cycle. Our future plan is divided into 3 categories. First is our studies category. We have our column study, batch study, and permeable reactive barrier study. The column and batch studies will give us insight on the absorption of phosphorus via filtration materials, and the permeable reactive barrier study will allow us to observe our filtration system in a simulated field condition. In the spring of 2021, we plan to test our prototype at Grand Farms in North Dakota. Next is our design goals. We plan to create various iterations of our design to maximize its ease of use and efficiency for the customer. We also plan to outreach to our community in a variety of ways. Right now, our first design iteration is a box shape. This box shape would be implemented into a stream or ditch like in the picture shown. Our second iteration is going to be a circular shape so that it can be incorporated into the drain tile pipes of the farm. This would allow it a more effective and more flexible, adaptable use for the farmer, and it'll also just be easier in general.
Problems like these cannot be solved without the help from our community, whether it be working along NDSU, the College of Engineering, and the College of Engineering's lead researchers, Grand Farms' agricultural testing site, or C2 News use of materials, or attending events like 1 Million Cups, which is a stage to share ideas and receive feedback from many other professionals. Thank you so much for listening. We would like to thank our listeners, community, family, and friends, and mentors, Sasha, Taymorian, and First Class Martin, for all the support they've given us. Thank you again. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us.
Great job, Team CO2. Thank you. Our next STEM in Action team is AquaTech. AquaTech are 8th graders from Virginia representing our Northeast region. AquaTech is also one of our national finalist teams. They are led by team advisor Himalanka, and the students on AquaTech are Saranya Gadwala, Remy Ladia, Anish Pashpuleti, and Advice Gajulapali. AquaTech plans to reduce water usage by implementing a device that reduces the overuse of water by alerting the user to leave the shower after a certain amount of water is used. They developed a hydroelectric powered device with cutting-edge IoT technology using Arduino IDE that was environmentally friendly and cost-effective. The device measures the volume of water generated using magnets and sensors that calculate the volume of water used through formulas involving the number of rotations from a paddle wheel inside. Not only does this device allow users to set a recommended threshold to receive an alert from a buzzer, but it also stores and displays information in an accompanying application where data is constantly updated. From Rocky Sun Middle School in Chantilly, Virginia, please welcome AquaTech.
Everyone knows that one person who takes forever in the shower. Whoever it is, it takes so much longer than needed. Well, we're here to help with that. I'm Saranya Goodwalla.
I'm Advait Gajalapalli.
I'm Remy Ladia.
And I'm Anish Pasupaletti. Together, we are Team AquaTech, and we strive to save water.
We have a crisis, and everyone's part of it, even you. Did you know that shower water is the third largest use of water at home? We currently use over 50 trillion gallons of shower water every year in the US alone. Although the situation may seem colossal, we had an idea to make things easier for everyone. What if you could have a buzzer that notified you when to end your shower, and you could also look at your water usage patterns?
Before we started working, we analyzed the market for products that reduce shower water usage. However, after thorough research, we found that most of the products were overpriced, ineffective, unsafe, or weren't interactive. That's when we decided to find a solution to this pressing issue.
We started by gathering a lot of information through surveys we conducted. We found that shower water usage concerned the majority of the people in our community and that they didn't have a way of tracking it. 84.8% of people would also like to track their shower water usage.
On these questions alone, we concluded that the demand for an affordable shower water tracker is high. That's when we decided to build a hydro-powered, uncostly, Wi-Fi or Bluetooth-compatible device that could show water usage and alert people to exit the shower.
A large portion of our device is hardware, and we spent a lot of time researching elements like finding what components to use, how to power the device, transmitting data to an app, how to attach the components together, and more.
According to the EPA, the average flow rate of water from showers is 7.9 liters per minute. Using that data with proportions, we created a formula to find the number of rotations for when the buzzer should activate.
One of the hardest parts of this project was the programming, due to our unfamiliarity with Arduino IDE and programming in C. We began by learning the basics. Our first project involved testing an LED. As we found success in these smaller tests, we began to attempt harder projects like using Hall effect sensors, active buzzers, and more. Eventually, we merged these programs and put together our final code.
The two main parts of our prototype are the exterior and interior parts. In order to visualize our product, we color-coded the main areas of our device. The orange boxes are the power source components, the turquoise boxes are the electronic components, and the pink boxes are parts for connections.
We used and programmed the Blink app to read sensor data from ESP8266 virtual pins. The widgets are configured to refresh at 1-second intervals. On the left is the home page of the app where we use the gauge, label display, and graph widgets to display data from the shower tracker.
Our final prototype runs 8 main steps. Once the shower turns on, it gets powered and starts counting the rotations. After the paddle starts spinning, it switches to hydroelectric power and converts the rotations into liters using our formula.
The app then receives data from the shower tracker. Once the threshold is met, the buzzer rings, indicating that it's time to exit the shower, which saves water.
We scheduled an interview at Fairfax Water, where we showed professionals our device in action and received encouragement, as well as some tips. We also spoke with a PhD student at George Mason University, who gave us great information about hardware and electronic parts.
We're proud to say that we've achieved our goals and more. Through the process of making our device, we learned so much, and we're truly grateful for this opportunity. In the end, our objectives for the future are to educate others about this issue, but with the help of the $5,000 STEM in Action grant, we can distribute our product as well. This will allow us to have a greater impact on the community than we originally planned for. Along with that, our mission is to help people save water, save money, reduce electricity, and help humanity while doing so.
5 minutes can save you $560 on your water bill.
But wait, there's more. You can also save $150 on your electricity bill.
On top of that, you can help the world.
So next time you take a shower, think about the impact you can make. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Team AquaTech. Our next STEM in Action team are Charger Plastics. They're 8th graders from North Carolina representing our Southeast region. Charger Plastics is led by Team Advisor Mark Bartholet, and the students on Charger Plastics are Jody Yan, Catherine Liu, Morgan Boonshaft, and Pavan Thacker. Charger Plastics developed a non-expensive, easily implemented, and environmentally friendly solution for cleaning plastic found in big bodies of water such as oceans, lakes, and rivers before it gets to the recycling plant. They researched and tested various mixtures and found a mixture of vinegar and baking soda effectively cleaned dirty plastic bottles. Their dirty plastic was placed onto a shredder and then put into a container with a mixture of vinegar and baking soda to produce clean plastic for recycling. From Providence Day School in Charlotte, North Carolina, please welcome Charger Plastics.
Hello, we are Team Charger Plastics. We are from Providence Day School in Charlotte, North Carolina. Unfortunately, our rivers are filled with garbage. This is an especially big problem locally, with the nearby Catawba River being the third most endangered in the nation. Thankfully, many organizations are working to remove these pollutants from our rivers. However, while over 200 pounds of plastics retrieved from the nearby Catawba River basin should be recyclable, a lot of it ends up in the landfill. Why? Because they are extremely filthy from spending so much time underwater. Recycling plants can't recycle these plastics, so they're sent to landfill.
We've been working with a volunteer organization called the Catawba Riverkeeper Foundation, who work to clean the Catawba River Basin. Once built, our device will be used at their river cleanups, and in return, they're helping us by saving dirty plastics for us to test our device on.
Upon presenting our idea to the Catawba Riverkeepers Foundation by email, they responded that this is such a needed capability for our organization.
So, how can we clean our rivers without contributing to our landfills?
To solve this serious problem, we've created this device. Here's how it works. Plastic is placed into the shredder where it is shredded. Then the shredded plastic falls onto a conveyor belt which carries it into a rotating drum. This drum is where the plastic is cleaned with a chemical solution. After they are cleaned, the plastic is removed through the door in the side of the drum.
About the shredder. It is a modified version of a shredder from an organization called Precious Plastics. Its purpose is to cut plastics down into uniform pieces so that they're easy to clean. It's the largest and most expensive component of our device and runs automatically with a motor. This is also the first place the plastics go.
After they are shredded, the conveyor belt then carries the plastics to the drum. The conveyor belt, like the shredder and drum, is controlled by an Arduino microcomputer. The conveyor belt streamlines the process by preventing the need for a person to transfer the plastic from the shredder to the drum.
The drum is the most important part of our design as it is where the cleaning takes place. The drum, which contains both the plastic and chemical solution, is spun by a motor. Then the solution is discarded through a hole with mesh, which prevents the plastic from slipping through. After this, the newly cleaned plastic is removed through a side door on the drum. Currently, we're considering a number of different chemical solutions to determine which is the most effective, environmentally friendly, and cost-effective.
The entire device is mounted atop a trailer. This means the device can be taken directly to the river cleanup for use, which eliminates the need to transport plastics from rivers to a second location.
These are the three main stages of our device. Initially, our device was a shredder that dispensed plastic into a container with a cleaning solution. After discussing how we could improve our design, we created the detailed figure in version 2. This diagram has specific parts that are necessary for our device to function. After we won the STEM in Action grant, we used computer-aided design to create an even more accurate model of what we plan to build. This version is in 3D and is exactly to scale. We are now working to build a prototype.
In conclusion, our device has three main benefits. First, it reduces the amount of plastics that are in landfills. It will also help turn rivers into a cleaner environment, which will positively affect the community. Finally, it will increase the total amount of recycled plastic that could actually be reused.
Once we received the grant, we created a table to view what we'd be spending our money on and how much everything would cost. In total, we will be spending about $3,169. The leftover grant money will be used for extra supplies.
Thank you so much for listening, and a special thank you to everyone listed on this slide.
Okay, great job, Charger Plastics. Thank you. So our next STEM in Action team are the Psychologigals. They are 9th graders from Illinois representing our North Central region. The Psychologigals is also one of our national finalist teams. They are led by team advisor Ramu Ramachandran, and the students are Shruti Kotlo, Divya Litter, and Anja Ramachandran. The Psychologigals aim to identify a solution to combat depression in our society by creating a cost-effective app. They explored the correlation of vocal features and depression and found that the phonic patterns can be indicative of a disorder like depression. Their solution includes both a Python-based machine learning program and a statistical model, which analyzes extracted acoustic data from voice samples and attempts to classify each voice as depressed or non-depressed. They are a community-led team from Lisle, Illinois. Please welcome the Psychologicals.
Hi, I'm Anjana Ramachandran.
Divya Litter.
And I'm Shruti Kotlo, and we're the Psychologicals.
Mental health has become a major issue in the world, not only affecting adults, but also our close friends and peers. Social stigma and isolation hinder early access to diagnosis, especially for our veterans. To overcome these issues, our research has shown us that we can create a solution using a combination of vocal features and machine learning tools.
So why vocal features? Our research and advice from clinicians suggested that depressed individuals have altered voice patterns, and we learned about proven vocal markers called MFCCs, which could be useful in analysis. Secondly, we chose a machine learning route because we were sure that its high computational ability could help us detect depressive qualities, even in people who were concealing their symptoms. These concepts offer a wide range of benefits. Next, we created an outline incorporating the two facets of our research, acoustics and machine learning, into a general pathway for our solution implementation. This consisted of the backbone of all of our experimentation. Finally, we came up with a list of goals that we wanted our solution to meet. They were related to confirming the validation of vocal features and final accuracy.
To start the process of building our models, we first gained access to the DikeWAS database from the University of Southern California, containing interviews of depressed and non-depressed people. We clipped each interview to be 6 minutes long for a concise representation. Each person completed a PHQ questionnaire. We took scores of 1 to 5 as non-depressed and 10 and above as depressed, and we took out scores in between to make sure that the non-depressed voices were as different from the depressed voices as possible. We finally had 89 samples to work with. Using the Python package Librosa, we analyzed and extracted MFCC values as well as other acoustic features. For our first method of analysis, we used statistics to see if any of the 26 vocal features we trained with were significant. We conducted a t-test and found that MFCCs 3, 5, and 16 were significantly lower in depressed voices compared to non-depressed voices. Other values, such as MFCC 10 shown below, were not significant. We then conducted an ROC curve and a multiple regression analysis that further confirmed that MFCCs 3, 5, and 16 had significant discriminative ability. This means that these particular vocal features can be used as key determiners of depression.
Our second experiment analyzes MFCC values using a sequential neural network. We allowed our model to train on the extracted values and received a classification. This is the code we wrote. Important sections include the split of data into training and testing, the training of our model, and the identification of test accuracy. The result of our model was a final 75% accuracy as opposed to the 70% in our criteria.
Our third means of analysis was a convolutional neural network. As it relies on spatial, not temporal data, this approach is widely used for image analysis, so we converted the voice samples into color and grayscale spectrograms as shown on the screen. Our final result was a 63.6% accuracy rate as opposed to our 70% criteria because we did not have enough data.
Our three-step approach was validated as we were able to detect depression using vocal features. Ways to improve our accuracies include separating our data based on gender and accents, as well as using larger data sets. Our testing has shown us that certain vocal features are different in depressed individuals, and that with a 75% accuracy rate, our neural network is capable of detecting depression accurately. This proves that depression can be detected solely through a patient's voice by using AI. Our solution will be cost-effective for those who can't afford a screening, use technology so that people are more open, and can be easily accessible to all, helping many individuals to get earlier treatment.
Our promising results have revealed to us that there can be a dramatic change in the diagnosis of depression for adolescents and veterans with mental illness. We reached out to our school principal, a clinical psychologist in our area, and the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs to implement our solution once we finish developing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Psychologicals. Great job. Our next STEM in Action team is Team Calipate. They are 9th graders from Arizona representing our West region. Calipate is also one of our national finalist teams.
They stopped.
Luckily,
They
I thought you have not.
They are led by team advisor Michelle Cannon, and they are made up of students Nathan Nugebauer, Cooper Weissman, and Colin Snyder. Calipate aims to help people get out of bed easier by using an electric blanket on a time-regulated system. They tested to see if the blanket would heat up at the proper time that they wanted it to. They tried heating up the blanket 30 times to see if it worked, and it did. They also tried the blanket on all 3 of themselves using the same method, heating up the blanket multiple times, and it worked. The blanket could possibly help people get out of bed with further research. From Paradise Valley High School in Phoenix, Arizona, please welcome Calipate.
Yeah, so we're Team Calipate. We did the temperature blanket. I'm Colin.
I'm Cooper.
I'm Nate.
How many of you have trouble waking up in the morning? I know I do. How many of you hear your loud, annoying alarm, then slowly open your eyes and just wish you could go back to sleep? But you can't, because you have to watch some really good-looking kids talk about blankets. If these scenarios are relatable to you, congratulations. You're exactly like the 58% of Americans who struggle to wake up in the morning. And if you feel tired after finally getting yourself out of bed, you're like the 43% of all people who report feeling fatigued in the morning. My group decided to change this. We set out to make a blanket that reliably wakes people up and makes them feel more energized. With this criteria set out, we had a lot of work to do, considering we only had 2 months and a $75 overall budget.
There were 3 primary phases in the design process of the blanket: research, construction, and testing. The first phase was research. For the entire month of September, we were looking at things like prior solutions, electricity, circuit boards, and sleep studies. Early in our research, we found that temperature can reliably wake people up and decided to use that as the premise for the project moving forward. Information was categorized into different areas, mainly sleep cycles, the effect of temperature, and alternatives to the alarm clock. From our extensive research, we gathered some of the most important parts of our project. Any change in shell temperature of 12 degrees on average will wake up most people. Temperature has also recently been linked to different thermoregulatory and depression-based chemicals, and it fits our criteria quite well. 2 common solutions included things like the shock clock and different kinds of wake-up lights, which use ideas like shocking, vibrating, noise, or glowing to get people up. All these things have varying results though, and we wanted a more precise solution, as well as something to ease you out of sleep, unlike a traditional alarm. The second phase was construction, and we started this phase by contacting the engineering teacher for his insight and expertise. We originally planned to use an Arduino and breadboard to simulate the push of a button that was used to make the blanket go on and off. After 3 weeks of learning how to code the circuit board and its parts, we decided to drill off the button and attach a suppressor that could be used to control the blanket more easily. After the button was drilled off, we plugged in the blanket just to see if it still worked, and it automatically went to the highest heat setting. Now that the blanket could turn on and off when supplied electricity, a timer was attached that supplied it power at whatever time the user wanted.
So our third phase was testing, and for testing we had only 1 week to complete it. So first we tested the functionality of the blanket. We wanted it to surpass 88 degrees Fahrenheit within 8 minutes of the time set. It completed this task with 100% accuracy. So for our second test, we sent the blanket home with students to test. This process, however, only had a 33% success rate, as shown in our graph. We attribute this limited success to the fact that the blanket had a safety precaution, and we may have adjusted to the temperature.
We are confident that using what we learned, our second design will wake all people up with 100% accuracy. Calipate Blanket is sure to help the next generation of scientists among us today feel rested and energized. We envision all students, professionals, service members, and you making the decision to wake up happily with the Calipate Blanket. Now let me paint a new picture for you. Envision laying in bed on a cold winter day. You feel a warm feeling come over your entire body. You get up to go eat some pancakes and walk right past the coffee machine because you are filled with energy. Would you rather have that or an annoying alarm clock? Now that you have opened your eyes to our solution, what questions do you have?
Thank you.
Okay, and thank you, Team Kalupate. Well done. And personally, I will always vote for pancakes in the morning, so sounds great. Our final STEM in action team this morning is Fight the Fomites. They are ninth graders from Florida. Fight the Fomites is led by team advisor Dr. Carol Karp and is made up of students Noah Cohen, Harrison Delisle, and Leo Oliveira. Fight the Fomites aimed to identify the prevalence and diversity of the microbiome on the Miami Metro Rail and possible organisms which might pose a health risk to passengers. They tested common touch surfaces, which included the escalator and stair handrails, elevator buttons, ticket dispensers, benches, seat backs, grab poles, hand straps, seats, and train floors. They swabbed each surface and grew the samples on various agar plates. After incubation, the bacteria were counted and identified. Almost all touch surfaces tested had hazardous gram-negative organisms, along with other gram-positive bacteria that can make people ill. They want to make passengers aware of the possible pathogenic bacterial exposure while riding the Miami Metro Rail. From Miami Beach Senior High School in Miami Beach, Florida, please welcome Fight the Fomites.
Good morning, everyone. It is a great honor to have received the STEM in Action grant and to be with you all today.
We would like to introduce our team, Fight the Fomites. We are from Miami Beach Senior High School. My name is Leo Oliveira. My partners are Harrison Delisle and Noah Cohen. Our team advisor is Dr. Carol Karp.
18 million passengers ride the Miami Metro Rail every year, and we need to ensure that the riders are aware of the possible health risks and the steps they need to do in order to protect themselves.
This is an overview of our past experiment and our future STEM in Action projects. In January 2020, we performed our e-cyber mission project evaluating the microbiome of the Miami Metro Rail. Then COVID-19 slammed the US and a massive campaign for hand hygiene occurred. We had the idea to repeat our experiment post-COVID and also to reach out to our peers and community to educate them on our findings. This is what we'll present for you today.
For our East Cyber Mission project, we selected 3 Miami Metro Rail stations. The hospital station because we thought healthcare workers might be exposed to dangerous bacteria. The Miami Airport station where people from all countries arrive, and a local station called Northside. We also cultured 3 random train cars.
At each station, we tested common touch surfaces that every passenger might encounter, such as the stair rails, escalators, elevator buttons, ticket dispensers, and bench surfaces. In each train car, we tested for seats, seat backs, hand straps, poles, and the floors.
What we found was frightening. In medicine, doctors consider a level of 100,000 colony-forming units extremely dangerous. When testing for infection, they stop counting at this level as it is already disease-causing. These 2 graphs show that there were extremely high levels of virulent bacteria on all locations, more than 100,000 colony-forming units per milliliter at almost every site. Looking at the types of bacteria, we found high levels of both gram-negative and gram-positive bacteria. Gram-negative bacteria are the most virulent and cause severe illnesses. This chart shows the particularly dangerous bacteria. Circled are Enterobacter fecalis, E. coli, and methicillin-resistant Staph aureus, or MRSA, which make people very sick.
So the vast majority of the dangerous bacteria were enteric, meaning they come from intestines and feces. This tells us that the riders are not washing their hands.
As mentioned, we performed our e-cyber mission experiment in January 2020, right before COVID hit. Since then, the world has been flooded with reminders to keep one's hands clean at all times. We want to now repeat our experiment in the same stations and trains and see if the bacteria load has changed.
Thanks to the STEM in Action funding, we can now repeat our experiment culturing for bacteria. But now, we will also have the funding to perform DNA testing using PCR, or polymerase chain reaction, to evaluate viruses such as COVID-19 and others.
What will we find? We hope that we will find decreased amounts of bacteria and that after this pandemic, people will have better hand hygiene. But stay tuned for the results of our experiment.
The second important part of our STEM in Action grant is to educate our peers and community. We will present at schools and develop ads on the Miami Metro Rail in order to remind the riders to wash their hands and to promote healthy hand hygiene.
We are so excited to start our STEM in Action grant. In summary, we will be evaluating the Miami Metro Rail for dangerous bacteria and viruses like COVID-19, and we'll be educating our community in order to protect them from these dangers.
Fight the Fomites thanks you. Be aware, wash with care.
Great job, and thank you to Team Fight the Fomites. And let's take a minute now and give it up for all of our STEM in Action grant recipient teams. I have to tell you, there is not a project there that would not make the world a better place. So great job, guys. It's been so great to get to hear about all of those projects. So now we are going to kick it over to Colleen, who's got questions available. Hi, Colleen. Good morning. And she's going to take us through some really cool Q&A.
Hey guys, good morning. Great job to the teams that have gone so far. Your projects are truly amazing. Just a quick update. I want to let everybody know there's been over 2,300 votes so far for People's Choice Award. So keep those votes coming in, you guys. You're doing awesome. So the first team that I have a question for is the marvelous Mosquito Marauders. And the question is, what were some of the biggest obstacles you faced when creating the app, and how did you overcome them?
So some obstacles we faced when we were creating the app were like when we were testing, none of us had ever created an app before. So we didn't know like exactly how to create one. But we were able to find appray.io, a low code platform, and able to go through the tutorials and create this app.
That's awesome. Great. Thank you so much. And my second question is for Team Psychologicals. And the question is, did you speak to any actual veterans about your ideas? And if so, what was their feedback?
We spoke to Sergeant Pierce, who was our 9th grade mentor, and he gave us some really valuable feedback about how he thinks our idea would be important for him and the people that he has worked with and his colleagues.
Awesome. We love Sergeant Pierce over at eCyber Mission. So thank you, Team Psychologicals. That's all I've got for right now. Erica, you can circle back with me in a couple minutes.
Great. Thank you so much, Colleen. And thanks, teams, for answering our questions. Before we move into our next part of the showcase and our next group of student presenters, I want to remind everybody who's out there watching, you have to make sure you're voting. You already heard that People's Choice voting is going up and up and up. You want to make sure you get in on that. So don't forget, vote for the People's Choice. NSTA has donated some amazing iPads to the winners. You can go right to the link that is in the description and cast your vote. And who knows, maybe your favorite team will get to take home those iPads. And don't forget, when you're done voting, make sure to spread the word, share that link with family and friends, and be sure to use our hashtag eCyber20. So now we are going to get ready to hear from some more of our amazing national finalist teams. And our next national finalist team is Team S Cubed. They are super superior scientists, and they are a 6th grade team from Michigan representing the North Central region. S Cubed is led by team advisor Gretchen Hine and is made up of students Megan Sutherland, Samantha Black, and Isaac Johnson. And the super superior scientists, S Cubed, integrated a food waste reuse program throughout the K-12 classes at their school. S Cubed monitored the garbage generated from lunch for 3 weeks, then repeated the monitoring after sharing information about separating food waste. They saw a 50% reduction in the mass of garbage and the reduction of at least 1 dumpster of garbage when comparing the pre and post data. The food waste was given to a local farmer who used it as feed for his pigs. From Lake Linden Hubble High School in Lake Linden, Michigan, please welcome S Cubed.
Hi, we're Super Superior Scientists, or S Cube, the 6th grade team from Lakeland and Hubble. I'm Isaac and my other team members are Sammy and Megan. We picked our name because our school is very close to Lake Superior. I'm Isaac and my other team members are Sammy and Megan. Our project was for using our school's food waste for pig feed. Next. For our presentation, we're going to give some background information followed by our procedure and results. Megan will finish up with the community benefit and conclusions. Next. We live in Lakeland, a rural area in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, or the star on the map. Our school is small. For example, our 6th grade class is 37 students. We've known each other since kindergarten and have been in the same class every year. Our biggest challenge was planning our meeting times around other activities. Next. We chose a project that would involve the reduce, reuse, recycle concept. Each week, our school fills 4 to 8 dumpsters with garbage. Most of it is food waste. We asked, how could we reduce the amount of food being thrown out? We decided to collect the food and give it to a local farmer for pig feed. There are many farm animals in our area, but most are herbivores. We chose pigs because they will eat anything. Now Sammy will talk about our procedure and results.
In our experiment, we had both a pre-test and a post-test. In our pre-test, we measured and recorded the mass of everything that came from our school's lunch for 3 weeks. In our post-test, we only measured what was going into the dumpster and separated the food waste from everything else. We made sure everything was being separated by talking to classes and placing flyers around school. We also monitored waste disposal during lunch. One of the challenges we faced during our experiment was making sure our experiment was completed before winter and before the pigs were butchered. The image on the right is a photo of the flyers we used. Next. As you can see in Table 1, in our pre-test, we threw away about 6.7 trash cans of waste per day. But in our post-test, that reduced, so we only threw away about 5.2 cans per day. In our pre-test, we threw away about 2,200 pounds over the 3-week period. But that reduced in the post-test by about 50%, so we only threw away about 1,000 pounds. In our pre-test, every student was throwing away about 0.38 pounds of waste per day, but again, that reduced in the post-test, so each student was only throwing away about 0.18 pounds of waste per day. Next. We reduced the number of trash cans and the volume of waste by 28%, and we reduced the mass of waste by about 55%. Over the 3-week collection period, we saved the farmers about $360 in pig feed costs. In Table 2, you can see the percentage reduction of everything from our pre-test to our post-test. And in Figure 1, you can see the mass of everything that we threw away in both our pre-test and our post-test. Now, Megan will finish up the presentation. Our project benefited the school and the larger community. By doing the project, students in the school learned that they could change their community by applying the concept of sustainability through food waste collection and reuse. Our school strives to make bonds from within to the local community, and in our project, a bond is made between us and the farmer. Our goal is to let other small, rural schools and businesses like our own know about our projects so that they may do it as well. Over the past year, we collected the food waste from school lunch and gave it to a farmer to use as pig feed. We found that the garbage amount was reduced by half when collected. That could also be measured as a loss of 3 to 4 dumpsters. If we were to do our project again over the 3-week period, we would save the farmers another $360. Students learned about sustainability through reducing, reusing, and recycling their food waste, so that there was a smaller amount going to the landfill. The S-Cube team would like to thank all of our parents, teachers, college helpers, and our advisor, Dr. Hine. We'd especially like to thank you, all of the viewers, for watching and listening to us. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Team S Cubed. Great job, guys. So we are going to move on to our next national finalist team, and they are the Four Musketeers. The Four Musketeers are 7th graders from Ohio, representing our North Central region. Four Musketeers are led by team advisor Vonda Fruworth and is made up of students Michael Worthington, Natalie DeVage, Claudia Ragsdale, and Addison Bays. The Four Musketeers constructed a weighted multi-monofilament gill net called the Ghostbuster to help put an end to the global problem of ocean ghost nets using biodegradable materials. After a 28-day test, the collected data indicated that the prototype gill net floated properly, but due to the short time had not shown signs of biodegradation. From King's Junior High School in Kings Mill, Ohio, please welcome the 4 Musketeers.
Hello everyone. Our names are Michael, Natalie, Claudia, and Addie. We learned about the eCyber Mission program through our 7th grade science teacher, Vonda Fruworth. After we got in our teams, we discussed whether we wanted our project to be about alternative sources of energy, the environment, robotics, or technology. Since we all feel passionate about the environment, we researched environmental problems, specifically issues involving pollution in the water.
We discovered the global problem of ghost nets, fishing nets that are lost and banned in the ocean, causing death and destruction to the ecosystem. These non-biodegradable nets can travel great distances while endlessly trapping and killing marine life. They also release toxins and microplastics into the water where marine life can consume them, harming or killing them. There's also potential for humans to consume these toxins and microplastics if they ingest marine life that have been affected by the ghost nets. Ghost nets negatively impact everyone worldwide, so even though we live in Ohio, we felt that we could address this problem using the engineering design process to invent a 100% biodegradable monofilament weighted gill net using bamboo, silk yarn, hemp cord, hemp rope, and sisal rope.
In order to have the time to design and create the gill net and test it, our team decided to divide up the work for the project based on each person's strengths. To keep us on track, our science teacher, Vonda Fruworth, had preset due dates for completing different portions of our mission folder. But the team was responsible for setting times and dates to get together to complete the project efficiently and on time. Our team made and tested only one prototype. After an initial float test, the net floated properly, so we decided not to make another prototype.
We decided to test the prototype, the Ghostbuster, for floating ability and biodegradability based on visual inspection and weight. The testing was conducted over 28 days in a glass fish tank filled with salt water at a steady temperature of 71 degrees Fahrenheit. During a weekly visual inspection, we discovered no evidence of physical breakdown of the net. This was actually a positive finding because the net needs to last a long time if it is being used. There were color changes in the materials, but they all returned to their original color when dried, except for the silk yarn, which turned dark cream. The net floated the entire 28 days, but floated lower in the tank during the last 2 weeks. This unexpected finding showed that the net did not lose weight, but became heavier from absorbing the salt water.
The Ghostbuster's starting weight was 8.76 ounces and increased to 18.42 ounces in the 4th week, but it was still floating. After the biodegradability testing, the net dried for 72 hours and weighed at 8.98 ounces. A final float test proves that after drying, the Ghostbuster gill net floated properly, showing that the prototype was a success. Future testing of the prototype could involve years of testing in order to see exactly how long the materials would take to completely biodegrade in the ocean, and also to see the life expectancy of the net if it were to be used for fishing. The strength of the net would also need to be tested to see how well it can hold fish. We put in a ton of effort into the process of designing, building, and testing our net. This prototype could be a solution to the problem of ghost nets that haunt our oceans because it will biodegrade and not release harmful materials into the water. Our team learned so much and are truly grateful for this amazing experience. A special thank you to our mentors, AEOP, the eCyber Mission staff and volunteers, and to the viewers watching.
Okay, thank you very, very much to the 4 Musketeers. Now we're going to go on to our next national finalist team. We've got Plast Assassins. They are 8th graders from Illinois, representing the North Central region. The Plast Assassins is led by team advisor Srimani Chakravarti and is made up of students Mira Delore, Anna Maria Olarov, Pramati Kandalai, and Ariana Parekh. The Plast Assassins' focus is to create a sustainable compost bin that can degrade low-density plastic bags in households by using only bioorganisms. They collected information on various organisms that degrade plastic and determined the best ones to use are mealworms and waxworms. Through research and testing, they concluded that their product is a cheap, feasible method of degrading plastic that will benefit the environment, help reduce plastic waste, and make an impact in their community. They are a community-led team from Naperville, Illinois. Please welcome the Plast Assassins.
Hello everyone, we are Team Plast Assassins. I'm Ariana.
I'm Anna Maria.
Mira.
And I'm Pramiti. Today we are here to talk about our solution to the growing problem of plastic pollution across the nation.
Many communities in the United States do not have recycling programs for plastic bags, which are used in all households for groceries and produce. Even though some grocery stores recycle low-density plastic bags, they must be completely cleaned in order to be recycled.
Plastic bags containing any type of residue have to be discarded in the trash and can end up in the environment. Only 1% of these bags are actually recycled. However, we were able to find a unique answer to this issue.
Based on established research, we found 4 organisms which degrade low-density plastic, which were waxworms, mealworms, a bacteria, and a fungus. Due to feasibility and affordability constraints, we decided to focus on the worms and create a compost bin that would use their abilities of degrading plastic. We then set 6 criteria for our prototype: affordability, sustainability, efficiency, size, containability, and the byproduct produced by the worms when they degrade.
Our first prototype consisted of 4 metal tubes, a glass box filled with oats for the worms, a drawer, a wire mesh, and an LED. The worms would live at the bottom of the enclosure. They would receive plastic through the drawer, the byproduct of which would go to the very bottom via the metal tubes. Once the worms decame moths, the drawer would allow them to the top. They would be attracted to the mesh area by the LED. We decided to make changes to the design when we took into consideration the contact between worms and humans.
Our second prototype consisted of 4 tubes, an enclosure for the moths and beetles with an LED, a drawer for separation of the worms and moths and beetles, 2 separate glass containers, and a stand. As you are about to see in this short demonstration, plastic would be inserted through the cardboard tubes and into the glass enclosures, where the worms would then be graded. After this process, the metal divider would be slid out to let the moths and beetles into the upper wire enclosure. The owner would have no contact with the worms, which was a major change from our first to our second prototype. We made changes when we saw that the worms are going for the oats and honey and were ignoring the plastic completely. We concluded that the worms should have direct exposure to as much plastic as possible in order for them to properly degrade it.
Our third and final prototype has a wooden frame and 6 wire mesh drawers with an additional drawer at the bottom. At the top, there is a mesh enclosure that contains an LED to hold the moths and beetles. As you can see in this video, the wire mesh drawers are designed to each hold 1 or more plastic bags, and the wooden frame has ledgers to easily insert them. The worms will start on the top plastic bag and eat their way through the plastic, eventually reaching the bottom where they can be placed back onto the top bag. This prototype addressed all of our criteria. It was feasible for us to create, compact, effective, easy to use, and would prevent the owners from directly interacting with the worms.
Our solution will help minimize plastic pollution and provide a simple way to degrade plastic bags. One bin using both types of worms would potentially be able to degrade 122.5 bags per year in a single household. If every household used this bin, we could degrade over 15 billion bags nationally. In this way, our bin will greatly reduce the amount of plastic waste created by the accumulation of these bags. It would eliminate the need to clean the bags and turn them into local grocery stores, the only places that accept them.
In conclusion, our device met all the criteria. It is efficient, sustainable, compact, affordable, and feasible. We found that it can help eliminate the problem of plastic waste, and it has the potential to be integrated into daily life. Thank you for your time.
Great job, Plast Assassins. Well done. And let's give a big round of applause where you are to all of our teams that have presented so far in this last group. Great work, guys. We are now going to pop back over to Colleen. Hi, Colleen. And we're going to see what questions she has to ask.
Hey guys, still doing a great job. We're over 3,600 votes, so keep them coming. The first question I've got is for Fight the Fomites. What inspired you to create something to help the citizens of Miami travel the Metro Rail safely, and how do you see it helping the city in the future?
Well, that's a great question, and we've been doing something like this for many years. And we decided that since the Metro Rail is such an important part of our community, we wanted to make sure that everybody who rides it is safe. Because as we said, almost like 18 million people ride it every year. So we wanted to ensure that our community was safe and protected when they used this critical piece of technology and public transportation.
Awesome. Just another example of eCyber Mission students helping mass amounts of people. That's great, you guys. For S Cubed, I have the question, what did faculty and staff at your school have to say in response to the significant waste reduction?
Well, at first we had talked to them to make sure everything was fine. I'm not sure we did share our results with them.
Okay.
So I'm not sure we got feedback from them.
Alrighty. And then the last question is going to go over to Plast Assassins. Have you made any moves to distribute this product throughout your community? And if so, what has been the primary feedback from community members?
We haven't distributed our product. However, towards the beginning of our project, we sent out a survey which asked if people would be interested in buying this product, and the majority of the people said yes. So future steps would be to design and finalize the prototype and implement it in many households across our community.
Awesome. Really looking forward to seeing that come through. All right, Erica, that's all I've got for right now. You can check back in with me in a little bit.
All right, we'll do that, Colleen. Thank you. And great presentations, great questions, even better answers. We're going to keep this rolling, but before we do, just one more reminder, make sure you've got those People's Choice votes coming in. I know these kids, raise your hand if you're one of the team members who wants your team to get the iPads. Look at all up. Okay, there was a few. So make sure you're all voting and you're all getting those People's Choice votes in. So we are going to move on now to our next group of national finalist teams. And the next team is going to be the Golden Spice. They are ninth graders from Fairfax, Virginia, and they are representing the Northeast region. Golden Spice is led by team advisor Lubna Ilhilu, and it is made up of students Tufik Kurban, Zohal Stanikzai, Jana Radwan, and Amina Khan. The Golden Spice aims to reduce schistosomiasis, a parasitic disease caused by blood flukes and carried by freshwater snails, as there is only one drug to treat this disease. They treated NMRI snails with curcumin, an antioxidant, before exposing them to heat shock at 32 degrees Celsius for 2 hours. They tested for HSP70 protein expression to determine the effects of this compound on snail susceptibility to Schistosoma mansoni. In conclusion, curcumin would decrease the expression of HSP70 in heat-shocked snails, making them more resistant to parasite infection. From Palm Tree School in Fairfax, Virginia, please welcome Golden Spice.
Good morning, everyone. This is the Golden Spice team, and today we'll be presenting our project on the therapeutic effect of curcumin for the treatment and prevention of schistosomiasis. Schistosomiasis remains second only to malaria as one of the most intractable, chronic, and neglected tropical diseases. People may develop schistosomiasis when they come into contact with schistosome parasite-contaminated fresh water. More than 700 million people are at risk of schistosomiasis infection. Estimate shows that at least 229 million people require preventive treatment in 2018. While substantial progress has been made during the past decade to prevent and control schistosomiasis globally, more than 200,000 people die annually due to schistosomiasis in sub-Saharan Africa. This disease mainly affects school children, adolescents, and young adults. Schistosomiasis is a neglected tropical disease caused by the parasitic trematode Schistosoma mansoni. The disease causes widespread chronic morbidity, male and female infertility, bladder cancer, and female genital schistosomiasis. As you can see right here, this map shows the distribution of schistosomiasis worldwide in 2012.
Here is a map that shows the geographic distribution of the schistosome infect. Studies show that schistosome X cause morbidity throughout the adult worms. This is a diagram that shows the life cycle of the parasite schistosome. First, the eggs of the parasite enter the freshwater source from living or feces of infected humans or infected animals. The egg then hatches into Marauders and penetrates the snail through the mouth and foot region and eventually becomes Cercaria. Cercaria then penetrates human skin within 2 to 3 minutes. This infects humans or other definite hosts, which then circulates the body and migrates to the liver, intestines, where the is repeated.
Curcumin is an antioxidant, cancer, and anti-parasitic phenol compound. The aim of our study was to explore the potential role of curcumin in snail resistance to stress by observing the HSP70 protein expression. We hypothesized that labrata snails with curcumin may reduce the expression of HSP70. Schistosomiasis remains endemic in numerous countries despite efforts to eliminate the disease. Recent research shows that schistosome infection is spreading to Italy. Currently, there is only one drug used for the treatment of schistosomiasis, which is PZQ. New drugs are needed to prevent reinfection in treated areas. Juvenile 3 to 4 millimeter susceptible NMRI snails were fished and treated with 20 nanograms per mil of curcumin overnight. Treated and untreated snails were heat shocked for 2 hours at 32 degrees Celsius. Proteins were extracted and concentrations were recorded using a nanodrop. Western blot. Samples were prepared and loaded for gel electrophoresis. This image shows the expression of HSP70. As you can see, the treated group's band intensity is weaker, which shows that the levels of HSP70 have significantly decreased. The bar graph shows that the treated group's levels of HSP70 have significantly decreased.
HSP70 expression has significantly decreased, about 50% less in the group that received turmeric prior to heat shock compared to the positive control group. Turmeric treatment has a significant effect in downregulating HSP70 in heat shock susceptible snails. Based on our experimental results and extensive research, we conclude that curcumin may be an effective alternative in combating and disrupting the schistosoma snail life cycle. Our findings strongly support our hypothesis. Further research is needed to understand how turmeric interacts with HSP70. We would like to thank and acknowledge Dr. Kuzan, Dr. Knight, Ms. El-Hilo, and our TA, Ms. El-Hilo. Thank you.
Great job, team The Golden Spice. Well done. Our next national finalist team are the Carbon Keepers from Texas. They are 6th graders representing the South Central region. Carbon Keepers are led by team advisor Laura Wilbanks, and the team is made up of Felipe De Farias, Briley Siemens, and Eliza Cole Smith. The Carbon Keepers discovered an urgent action against climate change to prepare for a better world by 2030. During their research, they discovered that soil carbon sequestration is a process in which CO2 is removed from the atmosphere and stored in soil as organic matter. Working with local and federal community partners and university mentors, different soil treatments were measured for carbon sequestration in response to drought, salinity, acidity, wildfire, and fertilizer. They are a community-led team from Science Rocks U in Lubbock, Texas, so please welcome the Carbon Keepers.
Hi, my name's Eliza, and I'm a part of a group called Carbon Keepers. These are my STEM partners, Felipe and Briley. Our team, Carbon Keepers, live on what was a shortgrass prairie just 100 years ago. Today, only 3% of American prairie remains, and we live amongst the largest agricultural area in the nation.
70% of organic soil carbon has been released into the atmosphere through farming. The result is a negative impact on climate change and soil productivity.
The UN Sustainability Goals list climate change and zero hunger as the environmental challenges of the century. There's a great urgency to increase greenhouse gas emissions significantly by 2030. We conducted thorough research and interviewed farmers, ranchers, and land use experts. We met with soil scientists, climate researchers, and biochemists. We also attended state soil conferences, TED Talks, and seminars. According to the EPA, 24% of greenhouse gas emissions come from agriculture. To improve soil health for greater food production for 9 billion people by 2050, we understand that reversing climate change is not a burden on our generation, but an opportunity for us to make history.
As a fifth-generation ranching family, it was startling to realize the huge role farming has played in releasing carbon, but it also holds great potential to mitigate the problem through regenerative agriculture. Our team asked the question, how could we prevent carbon from being released into the atmosphere and hold it in the soil effectively? We set up 37 tests and measured biomass after a month based on the effects of flood, drought, and wildfire. Pollutants were measured in 27 tests, including impacts of acidity, salinity, and nitrogen fertilizer. The excess and absence of water, as well as all pollutants, caused a 10 to 70% drop in productivity and soil carbon. However, fire had a positive impact on organic matter.
Armed with initial findings of natural additives, the use of beneficial bacteria called rhizobium was tested on seeds, resulting in a 400% increase in carbon levels. Soil additives are a step in the right direction. Using 5 types of soil from our region, we studied which soil additive would provide the greatest root stimulation and increase the carbon mass. Our total is we focus on the total carbon mass that stayed in the soil.
Manure, compost, and fungi were added to crops in 4 different concentrations and replicated 3 times. More than 200 tests were compared over the several months. Roots and shoots were separated, dried, and analyzed in the university lab. Carbon sequestration showed that fungi had the best outcome and proved most effective in storing carbon. We also provided an online tool to our local farmers to help calculate the total amount of carbon sequestration and greenhouse gas estimation. With all this evidence that soil and agriculture can hold carbon and help this global crisis, we started educating local farmers and the global community. Our action plan included political, educational, community, and environmental initiatives.
We taught farmers to look at crops differently and not just farm for crops, but for carbon as well. Our impact was multi-generational and improved the environment by changing practices to no-till, using cover crops, and adding fungi to soil. We contacted embassies to translate our flyers and brochures into 12 languages. Carbon Keepers formed 30 global partnerships in 12 countries on 7 continents. Our goal is that all ranchers and farmers worldwide understand that where they once had a large carbon footprint, they are now a fundamental part of the solution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Team Carbon Keepers. Great job. Okay, we're going to move on to our next national finalist team, and that is Team Code Red, 7th graders from Texas representing the South Central region. Code Red is led by team advisor Melanie DeFarias and is made up of team members Alexa Tyndall, Josiah Morales, and Ethan Giadi. Code Red is determined to find ways to lower the risk of firefighters receiving a positive cancer diagnosis. Several tests took place in order to find a proper solution. Results show dangerous elements on the gear of firefighters, in water exposed to smoke, and in rinsed water collected between wash cycles of bunker gear. Gross decontamination on site with water only was found to have some effect on reducing exposure, but washing gear multiple times instead of once greatly reduced the level of contaminants. From Southcrest Christian School in Lubbock, Texas, please welcome Code Red.
Before we start, I want to add something. Please vote for Team Code Red in the People's Choice Award.
Ethan, you did this last year.
Good morning. I'm Josiah, and these are my STEM colleagues, Ethan and Alexa. Our team, Code Red, is focused on saving the lives of firefighters. With cutting-edge, state-of-the-art equipment, the danger from the fire itself has been greatly reduced. The hidden risk and invisible killer comes from exposure to carcinogens released during a burn. The International Firefighters Association reports that 61% of line-of-duty deaths are caused by occupational cancer. We are dedicated to reducing the risk of cancer found among the firefighters we call heroes, and the one fireman I call Dad.
Code Red conducted thorough research and interviewed oncologists, firefighters, cancer survivors, and CEOs of fire associations. We met with fire chiefs, wrote congressmen, and attended the National Firefighter Cancer Symposium in Miami. Our team reached out to urban fire departments, visited a dozen fire stations, and consulted with rural volunteer firefighters in 2 states.
With the increase of artificial materials and synthetics used in buildings today, there is a greater risk of exposure to carcinogens when buildings and furniture burn than there was 50 years ago. Despite personal protective equipment, smoke permeates every layer worn and reaches the body. The skin is highly absorptive, and chemicals such as benzene, formaldehyde, hydrogen cyanide, and flame retardants are known carcinogens that enter the body. With every 5-degree rise in temperature, the skin's absorptiveness increases by 400%. To top it all off, previous research and experimentation showed that contaminants accumulate in the body over time with every fire fall.
During combustion, cancer-causing agents in the smoke are deposited on the skin and bunker gear of a firefighter, and then later outgassed. This process involves dangerous molecules that escape from the gear into the air, basically contaminating any place where the gear is taken or stored, increasing the cancer risk. Early tests showed that contaminants were present on the gear, and toxicity tests proved fatal to living organisms.
According to our survey, 70% of firefighters are volunteer, but only 30% were aware of the risk of cancer. 85% stored gear dangerously, and 50% had never been screened for cancer and routinely wore contaminated gear. Commercial washers cost upwards of $12,000, making them unaffordable for volunteer departments. We had our work cut out for us.
Our hypothesis stated that while gross decon can reduce carcinogens, that multiple washes would effectively drop contaminant levels on the gear, protecting our firemen. We engineered straps for firemen to wear in order to collect contaminants. We then analyzed those straps at Texas Tech University using a portable X-ray fluorescent. There were an alarming number of carcinogens present. Those straps were then washed using commercial-grade machines designed for decontamination, with rinse water being collected at various stages of cleaning. We then analyzed those straps at Texas Tech again, using an inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometer. Results showed that while simply rinsing gear immediately after a fire, gross decon, can be helpful, that multiple washes would effectively drop contaminant levels on the gear.
We learned the most effective way to reduce the risk is with a 3-pronged solution: education, prevention, and contribution. Career firemen and especially rural volunteer departments were taught how to clean and store their gear, preventing cancer before you get it. STEM gave us answers, allowing Code Red to potentially save the life of my dad and your hometown heroes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Team Code Red. Great job. So we're going to move on to our next team. Next up, we've got national finalist team, Carbon Sync. They are 8th graders from New Mexico, representing the South Central region. Carbon Sync are led by team advisor Laura Tenario and are made up of students Ariana Maestas, Alana Weisfeld, and Benjamin Freshley. Carbon Sync's focus is to determine if polymers and biopolymers, carbon chains themselves, can continue to increase their carbon bonding to keep carbon emissions out of the atmosphere and sink them into the soil. By producing small terrarium chambers Using potting soil and the individual polymers, the carbon sequestration was tested by placing dry ice on top of the soil, then sealing over the top of the dry ice with the polymers. From Taos Tiger Lab in Taos, New Mexico, please welcome Carbon Sync.
Hi, we are Team Carbon Sync. I'm Ilana.
I'm Benjamin.
And that's Ari. According to the EPA and NASA, the amount of carbon emissions in our atmosphere is 412 parts per million. My screen share isn't working. The amount of carbon emissions in our atmosphere is 412 parts per million. This is a 47% increase from the beginning of the industrial age. A carbon footprint is the total carbon emissions an individual puts out. Carbon is the basis of all life, but too much carbon contributes to a phenomenon called the greenhouse effect that accelerates climate change by deflecting temperature. This drastically changes ambient temperature of the environment, which influences weather intensity.
The results an increase in pollution, temperatures, disrupted jet stream, which makes droughts and floods in places that haven't seen these extremes in decades, if not centuries. Tornadoes, snowstorms, and hurricanes with increased power and frequency, and melting glaciers. These are things that have happened naturally before, but now they are advanced.
What if we could isolate these carbon emissions and sink them into the ground? What if we could do this with a low environmental impact? Polymers and biopolymers are long carbon chains that produce a squishy yet continuous surface that can bond carbon emissions, producing a carbon sink. We use dry ice as a carbon emission source to see which polymers and biopolymers reduce the sublimation rate the most, therefore suppressing carbon emissions. We can produce a method to trap the carbon emissions in the ground, then we can build a carbon emissions collector to remove carbon emissions from the air and put it where it does less harm, the ground.
Hypothetically, biopolymers such as cornstarch, chitosan, and guar gum will reduce solid carbon dioxide sublimation rates more than standard polymers, sodium polyacrylate, polyvinyl acetate, and polystyrene. These will push carbon down into the soil as indicated by the production of carbonic acid beneath the soil layer. When carbon dioxide or dry ice is introduced to water, it produces carbonic acid. The change in acidity levels over time will indicate how much carbon has been kept in the soil. Our research determined what polymers would be best to produce a seal over the top of the soil. Then we determined the environmental impact and feasibility of the polymers that were used. The simplest biopolymer, oobleck, or cornstarch with water had the overall best capping properties while still providing a compost for the soil. pH paper is placed in the bottom of rubberized containers with a layer of potting soil on top of the pH paper.
5 grams of dry ice was placed on top of the soil, then the polymers were spread on top, covering the dry ice completely. More pH paper was placed on top of the polymers and switched out every 15 minutes. As the pH paper beneath the soil changed, these were also switched out. The experiment went on for nearly 24 hours using video and in-person observation methods.
We found that cornstarch polymer, followed by polyvinyl acetate, polystyrene, sodium polyacrylate, respectively, did sequester carbon emissions. Guar gum and chitosan didn't do so well. The cornstarch polymer sequestered for the longest period of time and did not break down. Carbonic acid was captured from the immediate atmosphere as indicated by surface pH paper. The results showed that most synthetic polymers are better at carbon sequestration than biopolymers, except for cornstarch. Cornstarch and these polymers can be utilized to sink and sequester carbon into the soil. While the polymers are not biodegradable through normal means, the polymers can be repurposed product that can be broken down otherwise. The cornstarch, however, had the best performance and can be used as compost.
Future experimentation would include finding a polymer that can extract or filter out carbon emissions from the atmosphere to draw them down to be sequestered in the soil. By sequestering carbon into cropland, it increases nutrients in the soil, which increases crop yield. This could regenerate the soil and increase community farmland productivity in drought or nutrient-depleted soils while reducing carbon pollution. This has the potential to reverse the carbon footprint we've inflicted upon the planet while helping us increase the nutrient content of crops.
Thank you.
Okay, team, great job. Thank you very, very, very much. Our next national finalist team are the Brains Guardians, and they are 9th graders from New Mexico representing the South Central region. The Brains Guardians are led by team advisor Laura Tenario, and are made up of students River Fox, Kaylee Kelly, and Daniel Pacheco. The Brains Guardians aim to design a helmet that will reduce the impact of head and neck injuries. First, the helmet design was tested for stop impact and inertia impact, along with the design of a multi-function helmet that protects head and neck. Second, different materials were tested with the designs to determine impact resistance. Using a 3D printer at 10% scale to develop a prototype, they tested their prototype via a height drop with an egg strapped in, and they determined brake strength in a hydraulic press. The new design, with both cranial and cervical protection, was more efficient than the standard football helmet, hockey helmet, and motorcycle helmet designs, and was particularly effective in both inertia and standard protection. From Taos Tiger Lab in Taos, New Mexico, please welcome the Brains Guardians.
Hello, we are the Brains Guardians, and sports are a great way for young people to get exercise, learn teamwork, and be social. But there is also a dark side. Concussions are a life-altering injury and can be deadly now and in the future.
Post-concussive syndrome can last long after we have stopped playing. Some helmets are too solid, which amplify the impact. Military racing and bicycle helmets do not have adequate protections for parts of the head and neck.
Head and neck injuries can lead to neurodegenerative disease and other illnesses that can result in early death. There are two primary types of impacts: inertia impact, when the body comes to a sudden stop while accelerating, therefore the brain continues to move, and compressive direct impact. Both impacts cause compression of the cervical and cranial areas, leading to whiplash, neck breaks, or concussions.
We worked with different polymers and designed to produce a multi-sport, multi-purpose headgear that will resist and deflect impact away from the cranial and cervical areas. The material needs to be flexible to protect the head and neck from both types of impact. We tested various types of helmets in these different materials to determine material and shape to reduce impact and compression damage. The new helmet had to meet 4 primary criteria.
Protection of frontal portion of the skull, brain stem, side portions of the head, neck and cervical region, and finally, not obstruct head movement, peripheral vision, or line of sight.
We have one member of the team who has multiple concussions from playing sports and has side effects from it. We found out it wasn't exactly legal to test on ourselves, our classmates, or our siblings, so our team advisor made us use chicken eggs.
We researched various helmets and cranial and cervical injuries experienced in sports, combat, and accidents. We determined parts of each helmet most effective at protecting the cranial and cervical area. We then looked into different types of 3D filament available on the market and selected 3 types: acrylonitrile, butene styrene, ABS, polylactic acid, PLA, and thermoplastic elastomer, TPE.
ABS is the most commonly used plastic and is used in existing helmets and can shatter easily. PLA is biodegradable, semi-flexible, friction-resistant, and does not shatter easily unless weakened by environmental extremes. TPE is used in products where flexibility is of high importance. It is chemical resistant and friction resistant and does not shatter unless moisture is completely extracted. TPE is not biodegradable and is more expensive than other filaments.
We programmed the 3D printer with 3 existing turtle shell type helmets: football, hockey, and motorcycle, along with a conglomeration of qualities possessed by other helmets in a new helmet known as the diaper, which has extra cervical protection.
Yes, it looks like something from the movies.
We stuffed chicken eggs inside the helmets and tested them on a hydraulic press for direct impact. We also dropped them from various heights directly onto the frontal lobe portion of the helmet for inertial impact. This was done 3 times for each helmet material and height.
The diaper design was more efficient at reducing impact forces both standalone and inertial than the turtle shell style designs. It was particularly effective in inertia and standard impact protection printed in TPE, followed by PLA, ABS shatter under pressure and force.
TPE has great potential in future helmet production due to its flexible properties, which reduce standalone and inertial impact forces. PLA mixed with TPE could potentially increase impact resistance.
The diaper provided the most overall protection and potential range of motion, but can impact peripheral vision. This could be fixed by form-fitting the helmet to the head or to replace the face panels with a TPE mesh to include more air insulation in the helmet design. While we can't completely stop concussions and cervical injuries, providing enhanced protection now will save a lot of future medical and mental difficulties and lives.
And eggs. Thank you.
Thank you, Team Brains Guardians. And let's give it up for all of our national finalists who presented in this round. Great job, guys. Well done. And we're going to pop over to Colleen now and see what kind of questions she has for our finalists.
Hey guys, awesome job. Over 5,600 votes now, so that's awesome. The first question I have is for Team Code Red, and it is, what is the main feedback you got from firefighters in your community on your project, and what did they say it means to them that you're trying to save them from future illnesses caused by their profession?
The main response that we got from firefighters was that they weren't even aware of the risk of cancer. They didn't even know that they could get cancer from this job. So they were very grateful to have us be there to inform them and be able to tell them how to avoid it.
That's so great. That's awesome. And the last question I have is for Team AquaTech. How do you plan to use the STEM in Action grant to improve your design/product?
Yeah, so we have like a plan for the future, which is in 3 phases. So our first phase is to use a 3D printer to create our own parts for both the hydroelectricity generator and the Hall effect sensor. And then we also plan to develop our own app where we can create customizations and like say give users information like if you reduce 5 minutes in your shower, you can save this amount every year. And then in phase 2, we plan to like get it ready for giving away 50 models. So we plan to design the waterproof case and build them. And then on top of that, we also plan to construct those 50 models. And then phase 3, we're really focusing on community and giving away like 50 of our models so that we can have a larger impact. And
another thing that we really wanted to highlight was the app. We wanted to make it more personalized and more customizable.
That's so great. And for those of you that don't know that are watching, we can catch up with our STEM in Action people on our blog later this fall to see how you guys are progressing with that. So that'll be really exciting to see. Back to you, Erica. You can check in with me in a little bit.
Thanks, Colleen. That is awesome. And I'm looking forward to being able to check out that blog in the fall to see how everything's coming along. Such amazing projects. You guys are doing a fantastic job. So before we jump right back in, sounded like Colleen said we had 56,000 votes. That is incredible. Let's get some more. So make sure that we are voting and we are posting and we are using that hashtag EastCyber20. So great job, guys. And we are now going to go back to our national finalist presenters. Our next national finalist team is WSMS Gladiators 1. They are 6th graders from Tennessee representing the Southeast region. WSMS Gladiators 1 is led by team advisor Shaka Carter and is made up of students Neha Kodali, Emma Way, Aditi Arun Prakash, and Kelly Chu. And the WMS Gladiators 1 aimed to produce a buffer solution to acid rain that would allow plants to grow and not die. Through the use of scientific inquiry, the team made a buffer solution and added it to a sample of imitation acid rain. The 2 solutions were added to healthy plants and observed over several days. The plants that had only acid rain wilted and stopped growing. The plants with the buffer added to the acid rain continued to grow and were healthy. From White Station Middle School in Memphis, Tennessee, please welcome WSMS Gladiators 1.
Good morning, everyone. We are WSMS Gladiators 1 from Memphis, Tennessee.
My name is Neha Kadali.
My name is Kelly Chu.
My name is Emma Wee.
Where's Aditi?
Hey there, Aditi. You are muted, so if you want to go ahead and.
My name is Aditi Arun Prakash.
Our presentation is called The Balancing Act. Do you really want your plants to look like this? Or like this? If you like most people.
My name is Aditi Arun Prakash.
Unless you just really hate those weeds. So who killed the plants? Humans kill the plants. How? A giant problem. Pollution.
Oh, my name is Aditi Arun Prakash.
Unless you just really hate those weeds.
What is acid rain? Humans have been polluting the air for a very long time now. Some pollutants made by humans include sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide. These pollutants mix with the water vapor and form acidic clouds. Since the clouds have a much higher acidity than normal, rain falls with much higher acidity than usual. This acidic rain is known as acid rain. Acid rain is a big problem to farmers worldwide because it increases the acidity of soil, killing crops.
We use many reputable sources such as BBC, New York Times, and National Geographic. What did we create? We created a solution to this common problem. In order to reduce the effects of acid rain, our team made a buffer solution composed of baking soda and water. A buffer solution is a liquid that includes a strong base, a strong acid, and a weak base. In our case, we made a buffer with a strong base and a weak acid.
Our experiment.
Our materials. An imitation of acid rain and buffer solution. 3 green onion plants, pH strips, sharp knees for labeling, and tape for labeling, a computer, a blanket, some containers, spoons, syringe, and bowls.
Our procedure. To make sure our buffer worked, we mixed an imitation of acid rain made with our buffer. We had already tested the pH of our imitation, 3.5. The pH of the buffer solution was 7, which is neutral. We tested the pH of the mixed solutions to not waste plants and got a pH of around neutral as well, proving that our buffer solution neutralized the acid rain. After we knew this test was successful, we decided to bring it onto the plants. We used green onion plants. In one of the plants, we put 2 milliliters acid rain using a syringe. In another plant, we put 2 milliliters acid rain, 2 milliliters buffer solution. In the last plant, we put 2 milliliters regular water as our control group. We did this continuously over the course of a week.
The buffer solution and acid rain. We made the buffer solution and acid rain imitations ourselves. In order to make the buffer solution, we mixed baking soda and water. To make the acid rain, we diluted vinegar with water. A picture of the buffer solution and its pH is shown to the left, 7.3. A picture of the acid rain imitation and its pH is shown in the middle, 3.8. A picture of the mixed solutions and its pH is shown to the right, 7.2.
Benefit to the community. Edible plants that have been greatly affected by acid rain have been eaten by humans, often make humans very sick. If we can get edible plants to neutralize the effects of acid rain, humans will not get sick. Many animals in the wild are subject to drastic pH changes in soil and could be greatly harmed or possibly die. Therefore, our solution would solve this problem. People often pay more for better quality food. If we can show them that we are raising food's quality, we could potentially boost the economy.
Our results. The before and after pictures of the acid rain plant, buffer plant, and control plant are on the left, middle, and right.
Our conclusion. In conclusion, our team found that using a buffer solution on a plant that's been affected by acid rain will improve a plant's health.
Why keep your plant's health unbalanced when you can use the Balancing Act?
All right, great job, WSMS Gladiators 1. Well done. Our next national finalist team are the Thermo Kitchen Hawks. They are 7th graders from North Carolina representing the Southeast region. The Thermo Kitchen Hawks is led by team advisor Barbara Morrow and is made up of students Virginia Foster, Jenna Hustis, Maya Belton, and Daria Strachan. The Thermo Kitchen Hawks project aimed to assist northern Ugandan women in extracting deadly carbon monoxide fumes from their huts due to cooking fires. The team started the project by first researching relevant topics such as exhaust ventilation system, thermoelectric generators, circuitry, and Ugandan huts, and then they proceeded to build prototypes following the engineering design process. Their design uses heat from the cooking fire to generate electricity to power a fan to extract carbon monoxide fumes. From Charlotte Latin School in Charlotte, North Carolina, please welcome the Thermo Kitchen Hawks.
Good morning, everyone. Our team attempted to solve the problem of women and children in northern Uganda from getting sick or dying because of carbon monoxide fumes released from the cooking fires inside their huts.
We are trying to convert heat from their cooking fires to usable energy to power a fan and a carbon monoxide detector.
Hi, I'm Maya.
Hi, I'm Jenny.
Hello, I'm Jenna.
Hi, I'm Daria, and we're the Thermo Kitchen Hawks.
On the slide, you can see that we made a Gantt chart that shows the amount of work done and production completed over the course of this project.
A Gantt chart is something that shows activities displayed along a time bar that shows when each task was started and completed.
The first thing our team wanted to do before beginning to build our prototypes is research our problem.
On the left, you can see a typical Ugandan hut. On the right, you can see part of a typical Ugandan cooking area, and in the middle, you can see the engineering design process.
These are all reflective of research done in Uganda and research done on the engineering design process.
On this second slide, you can see on the left 2 different types of electric circuits, and on the right, you can see some thermoelectric generators, which are the final 2 things we did research on.
On this slide, you can see the cost of building prototypes 1 through 4.
Prototype 1 cost about $23, prototype 2 cost about $31, and all prototypes 3 through 5 all cost about $31.
On the slide, you can see the cost of building prototypes 5 through 7.
Prototypes 6 and 7 both cost $144. The price of these went up because we had to use a soldering iron.
Next, we'll talk about our prototypes. Our first prototype was set up with parallel circuits.
And when you tested, we got 1.96 volts.
Our second prototype was in parallel. We added a 25-volt fan. They got 0.573 volts in testing, but the fan did not work. Before building prototype 3, we reached out to electrical engineer at Doosan Portable Power, John Gunn, and he suggested we use a 5-volt.
Our third prototype was in parallel, and we added a 5-volt fan that didn't work and got 2.389 volts in testing.
Prototype 4, we got 1.741 volts. The fan did not work, and it was set up in parallel.
Prototype 5 was in parallel, got 1.446 volts in testing, but it did not power the fan.
In between prototypes 5 and 6 is when the most notable changes to our design occurred.
The 2 changes we made are from parallel to series, and in prototype 6 we added a TP4056 chip.
In our sixth prototype, as you heard, we switched to series because after some tests, it appeared that it generated more voltage in less time.
In addition, we added a TP4056 chip, which is a linear charger module that is typically used to charge a single-cell lithium-ion battery.
When testing, it got around 2 volts, but once again, the fan did not work.
In our final prototype, we had it in series, using the same setup that was used in the previous prototype, the change of input and output wires for the battery and fan.
It generated about 3.3 volts, which is enough to trigger the fan to work. Next, we'll look at this prototype in action.
In this video, we charged, set up, and ran an experiment to show you how prototype 7 would work.
We used a 3D printed hut, which its CAD design you can see on your right, and also a smoke bomb to represent carbon monoxide because we couldn't safely access it for testing.
When carrying out this experiment, we took all the safety precautions necessary.
Here you can see a failure modes effect analysis for prototype 7. We got varying risk party numbers because if certain things fail, it could result in loss of life or serious injury.
On this slide, you can see a line graph and a data table on all data gathered while testing every prototype.
Thank you for your time. We look forward to answering your questions, and thank you to the Army for their sacrifice and service.
Thank you so very much, Kitchen Hawks. Thank you very much. That was a great presentation. Our next national finalist team is West Tech, and they are 8th graders from Georgia representing the Southeast region. West Tech is led by team advisor David Phillips, and they are made up of students Leland Green, Samuel Weinstein, Kendall Schneller, and Jordan Epstein. The concept created by West Tech is a self-sustaining home. West Tech used wiring and Arduino and other electronics to control the water pumps, solar panel, and lights. West Tech used rainwater, groundwater, a solar pane, and a filter to generate electricity and clean drinking water for their home. This creates a viable and low-cost solution in the form of a self-sustaining home for impoverished areas to gain access to electricity and clean drinking water, which are human necessities. From Greenbrier Middle School in Evans, Georgia, please welcome West Tech.
Hello, everyone. We are West Tech. Our team consists of Leland Green, Jordan Epstein, Kendall Schneller, and Sam Weinstein. In the spring of 2019, 2 teams from our school, one with Leland in it and the other with Sam, Kendall, and myself in it, were invited to the International Steammaker competition located in Hong Kong, China. Our project aimed to create a self-sustainable house focused on the climate of Hong Kong. We placed second out of 111 teams. Later on, we wanted to bring this issue back to our state and entered into the eCyber competition, adding Leland to our team to help our project become more advanced in tech.
Our world is overrun by fossil fuels, which are non-renewable pollutant resources that are very bad for the environment. In our home, we have a water wheel which creates hydroelectricity, and our roof solar panels create solar electricity. Our hydroelectric home has many features that make it desirable for a wide variety of consumers. For example, our water wheel can be used in a rainy climate, and our solar panels can be used in a more sunny climate. On top of all of that, our rooftop garden adds a great space-conscious aesthetic to our home.
Each of our team members have many different skills. For example, Leland is very knowledgeable on the electronic aspects, Sam is very creative, and Jordan's organizational skills were very useful. Together, we used our skills to construct one functional and cohesive prototype. In our vision to create a sustainable home, we made 2 prototypes. Our first version focuses on the water wheel and the climate in Hong Kong. However, our second version is much more modern and has more options for the consumer. We added these new aspects to make it useful throughout the globe and in our local community, where the weather often varies.
As a team, we encountered many issues, specifically the water spilling everywhere and not making it to the water wheel. However, with all problems come outstanding solutions. We fixed our issue with some simple tubing and piping adjustments. The team gathered many resources in addition that helped us develop not only as a team, but helped evolve the prototypes. The main source of data that we collected was the analysis of our house. We were able to conclude that our house generates an average of 1.2 volts and 0.5 amps, thus generating 0.6 watts. We also analyzed the average temperature and humidity, which was a temperature of 65 degrees Fahrenheit and a humidity of 62%. This is crucial no matter what area our house is in, because it allows the consumer to know primarily where they will need to source their water for that day. These are our circuit diagrams. This one is our diagram for the water wheel and fan. The water wheel motor provides power to the battery and the fan cools the home. This is our main Arduino diagram. This controls the 2 pumps, the temperature and humidity sensor in the form of a DHT11, and the LCD screen that displays the output of the sensor. This is our simple solar panel and LED diagram. The solar panels charge a built-in battery that powers the LEDs that light the home.
In total, our final prototype cost $162. However, this is an estimate because we attempted to use repurposed materials we already had available.
Our project aims to help consumers, but also the environment as well. Our house eliminates the need for fossil fuels, replacing them with 100% renewable sources. This also saves the consumer money, as the resources are natural and converted to power and clean water by the house itself.
Our self-sustaining home was designed to use renewable, non-pollutant energy sources as a cost-effective home model. Our team used a variety of tech such as an Arduino, solar panels, water pumps, and the lights inside of our home. Our goal as a team is to provide all humans with safe, affordable housing, built to ensure a protective future for the environment.
Thank you.
Okay, great job. Thank you, Team West Tech. Our next national finalist team is JAM, and they are ninth graders from Alabama representing the Southeast region. JAM is led by team advisor Balabhaskar Prabhakar and is made up of students Joshua Chen, Ashwin Prabhakar, Alexander Stern, and Matthew Stern. JAM aimed to develop a pH sensor using hydrogels and pH indicators extracted from natural resources. An automated process was developed to make a hydrogel-based pH sensor, and an imaging-based methodology was developed for pH measurement using color spectrum analysis. An Arduino-based sensor was integrated for display of results. The developed imaging process and Arduino sensors were able to demonstrate successful measurement of pH for different samples. Working together with local communities, this biodegradable pH sensor will provide a new era for design and development of natural components-based methods. From Bob Jones High School in Madison, Alabama, please welcome JAM.
Hi, we're Team JAM from Bob Jones High School, Madison, Alabama. Our main motivation for this project was that human activities have led to air, water, and land pollution. Of the waste into landfills, paper is a large contributor with over 26 million tons of waste annually, which is about a quarter of all waste according to the EPA. Also, paper releases methane when decomposing. Of this paper waste, a specialized scientific paper known as pH paper accounts for over 1 million pounds of waste per year. With this in mind, the goal of our project was to identify, modify, and adapt natural resources for the encapsulation of a naturally occurring pH indicator. This led to our hypothesis, which was, if we encapsulate a natural pH indicator using natural materials, we will have developed a biodegradable pH sensor that is natural and renewable.
The first image shows the color and pH relationship between a normal pH strip and red cabbage juice. Since it turns a different color, we used NIH ImageJ to calculate the RGB intensity of the different colors. This image shows an RGB analysis that we did on solutions that were made with food coloring. This is useful because if you have an unknown sample, you can use the RGB values to find the pH. This next schematic shows how the alginate particles form following cross-linking with the calcium chloride. We were also curious to see if there was a correlation between electrical resistance and pH levels. This schematic shows how we set up and made our Arduino-based ohmmeter. To make the sensor, a 1% solution of calcium chloride was mixed with the red cabbage juice that was extracted by soaking the chopped cabbage in hot water, as you can see here. An air compressor set at 20 psi was then used to dispense the alginate to make the sensor as shown in this image here below.
The diagram on the left shows how an anthocyanin changes across different pH levels, where the more hydrogen ions a solution has, the more acidic it is. From that, we made various solutions of pH levels of 2 to 14 using water, bleach, vinegar, and baking soda, which were then measured with pH strips in our sensors. We then used ImageJ software to compare the RGB values of each solution, as you can see on the graph on the right.
The image on the left is our Arduino system we made to measure the resistance of the solutions with an LCD screen to display the live readings. The graph on the right shows what we found. If a solution is very acidic or basic, its resistance is low, but it gets higher as it approaches the neutral zone of about 7. We made 3 solutions with unknown pH values to test the sensors, which change different colors depending on the pH. The graph on the left shows the electrical resistance of the samples, and the graph on the right shows the pH values of the samples. This shows that there is a correlation between electrical resistance and pH, and that our sensors do indeed work.
In conclusion, our hypothesis was valid and that we were successful in combining a natural pH indicator with alginate to create a simple and biodegradable pH sensor.
We made an automated system to produce pH sensors and use RGB spectrum analysis with an Arduino-based odometer to successfully measure pH using our sensors.
In the future, we would like to incorporate additional naturally occurring pH indicators to further refine the sensor. We'd also like to mass manufacture the sensor to reduce its cost from its current cost of 12/10,000th of a cent per sensor. We would also like to do independent testing at various institutions. And finally, we would like to launch the product.
Our biodegradable pH sensor has the potential to replace the use of pH paper, help reduce the effects of global warming, and open the door for natural component-based systems to help our communities, our businesses, and our planet.
We would like to say thank you to eCyber Mission and AEOP for allowing us to compete and expand our knowledge.
Thank you all for your time.
Okay, great job. And thank you, Team Jam. And let's hear it for that incredible group of national finalists. Great job, guys. Well done, well done. And now we are going to kick over to Miss Colleen and see if she has any questions from the audience for our students.
Yeah, just real quick, I want to say thank you to everyone who's voted. We have officially surpassed our votes from last year. So round of applause, everyone. That's awesome. Keep them coming in. The first question I have is for West Tech. What did you find was the most sustainable resource when creating your sustainable home?
We found the most sustainable resource to be the water because no matter where we are, we can always pump groundwater from the ground, and that also goes through our hydroelectric generator of the water wheel. So even if you're using energy to pump the groundwater, it still goes through the water wheel, thus creating energy. And so it doesn't really take up energy. If anything, it would generate more energy. And whenever it rains, it also falls into the collection too.
Awesome. Okay, the next question I have is for Jam. The question is, have you guys begun working with your local community yet to start implementing this sensor into the design of businesses in your community?
We have talked to a couple scientists in our community, and they're looking forward to our product. So yes, we have started looking around.
Awesome. Looking forward to see how that turns out. And the last question we have from the live stream was for Team Jans. How do you plan to let your community know about your innovative Stack O filter?
So we're planning to we're designing a website to display all of our Stack O filter. Also, we will be pitching our idea to large organizations like Red Cross and also community organizations like Loud and Water. And lastly, we're planning to partner with Boy Scouts, like SIDA's Boy Scout troop, in order to spread our idea.
Awesome. Well done, guys. Erica, back over to you.
Okay. Thank you for all of those great questions and answers, and for all of our incredible teams. And thank you for everybody who's voting in People's Choice and for breaking our record from previous years. There's still time to vote. You have until 12:30 Eastern Standard Time to get those votes in. So make sure you're taking that time. Go into the link right there in your description, and if you're going to tweet or Instagram or Facebook or any other kind of post, make sure you're using our hashtag eCyber20 and share that word. Now we're going to move on to our last two national finalist teams. Our next national finalist team is We Matter, sixth graders from Nevada, representing the West region. We Matter is led by team advisor Judith Kraus and is made up of students Candace Ho, Glennie Wu, Zoe Laxon, and Julianne Warren. We Matter aimed at developing a portable clean water filter to decrease the world's contamination crisis. They created a water filter that would help clean water impurities by using a precise measurement in their framework for stability and prevent impurities or particles from falling into the water. From Hyde Park Middle School Academy of Science and Mathematics in Las Vegas, Nevada, please welcome We Matter.
Hello, everyone. We're excited and thrilled to be here. We are We Matter, and I'm Zoe Laxon. With me is the rest of my team.
Candace Ho. Julian Warren.
Anyway. Clean water. It is a simple concept, but how many places that you know have access to clean water? You may think of a lot, but there are also others in the opposing end, like Las Vegas, Nevada, and Flint, Michigan, and that's only a couple of cities in America. Luckily, that issue will be one of the paths once our water filter takes action.
For our project, we needed 1 glass, lemons, grass, and baking soda, active charcoal sand, 1 dish, pH meter, pH strips, and linen and cotton. These are our main materials: baking soda, charcoal, and sand. Each has a purpose in our filtration device.
Our independent variables were the water filter, the baking soda, the sand, the cloth, and activated charcoal. Our dependent variable was the water quality and the filtration.
It controls the clean water and the constraints for the cloth. The cloth needs to be thin enough to have the water drip through quickly, and the cost needs to be under $50. The weight needs to be under 10 pounds, and the filtering materials must be clean to avoid contamination. Our criteria for the water filter is that it should be able to be used in multiple environments and that the cloth should match relatively well. Otherwise, the materials would fall out. The technology used in our water filter was the pH meter and the pH strips, which were both used to measure the pH of the water.
Our hypothesis was if the contaminated water containing bacteria, dirt, pollutants goes through the water filtration and purification system, then the water will have a pH of 7 because the purification and water filtration will purify the water, neutralizing the acids and bases.
To start, you will need 3 PVC pipes. Then connection at the top using duct tape. The base should stand in a tripod way. Then 3 triangles of textiles. This was at each corner of each triangle to be tied to the pipes. If polluted water is used instead of citrus water, do not drink it. All the materials are not edible and can have harmful effects. Comparison should be made multiple times, and the pH of the filtered water should match or exceed the pH of the clean water.
The next material to add is the baking soda, sand, and charcoal. For the acidic water, use a pH meter or strips to compare the pH to control water. The target is 7 pH, but slightly over is not an issue.
Our first experiment, the water did not pass through, and the materials kept falling into the container because of the linen or the sand. The pH was not taken. The second trial, we used cotton instead of linen. The result was success with a pH of 7. On our third attempt using citrus, when we poured the water through the filter, the pH increased slightly, but not enough to reach 7 pH. We suspected the grass was causing the inability to reach our goal, so we removed it.
When we introduced baking soda as a filtering material, the pH rose from 6 to 8 and was a success.
Out of the 8 trials we conducted, 4 of them were successful. The other 4 were failures, but were still necessary to the final results. In the end, our water filter was 100% successful. We had 2 tests, and the purpose of these were to check the framework to see if the filtering materials could still work even after being used several times, and to see if the filter still reached the standards of clean water.
To maintain the target pH, the cloth must match the measurements required for the water filter. Otherwise, the filtering materials could fall out. Human error could cause contamination of water, which could result in vomiting, dehydration, and more, and could also result in a lack of sterility in the water filtration system.
Multiple experiments made our product more efficient and precise. Our hypothesis was supported. We want our product to be used in places that cannot access clean water. The material used are easy to obtain, and the user guide is very simple, making our product fit for anywhere. Our product could also be used for camping since materials used are easy to substitute. Our plan for our water filters is to go to places in need of clean water and use to provide water for families. Our product will allow many people to have clean water available in an affordable and practical solution. This has been an overview of We Matter, acidic water filtration project. Thanks for listening.
For more information about our project, you can visit our website using the link below. Our website contains data such as videos, experimentation results, and a description of our water filter.
Okay, Team We Matter, great job. Thank you for presenting. And last but certainly not least, we have one more national finalist team, Team Fueling Change. They are 8th graders from Utah representing the West region. Fueling Change is led by team advisor Laura Gibbons and is made up of students Gavin Murdoch, Anna Van Morlahem, Sarah Gibbons, and Caitlin Gibbons. Fueling Change focuses on the problem of global warming. They experimented using both milfoil and invasive lakeweed as biomass source to make a biofuel, which contributes to solving the larger scale problems of global warming and Utah's inversion. They effectively tested their hypothesis where they experimented with the optimal conditions for maximizing ethanol levels produced by the lakeweed through fermentation. They leveraged engineering in the development of their distillery and technology for outreach through the design and creation of their lakeweed game and website, as well as in the creation and publication of their book. They are a community-led team from Stansbury Park, Utah. Please welcome Fueling Change.
First off, congrats everyone on your amazing projects. We are finally at the end, so we won't keep you waiting. Hi, as part of Team Fueling Change, we were on a mission to make a difference in our community through research and innovation. It was important for us to address several problems through one project. First, our local lake is plagued with an invasive lakeweed, requiring our lakeweed mower to run 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Learning that Eurasian milfoil, our lakeweed, is also found in every state in the U.S. besides Hawaii and Wyoming, our team looked outside our community. We are determined to solve the problem of our waterweed with the possibility of addressing two even bigger problems: Utah's inversion and global warming. Our research showed biofuels were a great solution to both, allowing us to solve a problem with a problem.
We discovered global warming is increasing due to the large amount of fossil fuels being used. In a government article, Biofuels: A Solution for Climate Change, it illustrates that biofuels could in fact help with climate change, as they add very little CO2 to the buildup of greenhouse gas emissions. The problem of Utah's inversion happens when a layer of warm air traps a layer of cold air along with the pollution. A professor at Utah State University explained in an article on the future of biofuels that biodiesels could help eliminate the inversion, and that biodiesels represent one of the most promising forms of renewable energy.
It was this idea that led us to begin our project. We knew that corn was a successful biomass source, but we wondered if lakeweed could also be used to make a fuel. Our hypothesis was, if lakeweed from Stansbury Lake is fermented with baker's yeast and water, then it would produce ethanol, which could be used in a biofuel. Our research led to ethanol sources, Eurasian milfoil research, and finally to seeking out a microbiologist in a lab to help us determine whether our lakeweed was capable of producing ethanol for use in a biofuel.
As we researched in the lab, I was able to use my coding skills to help the team in a different way. Using the game engine, Construct 3, we decided to make an educational game where students can learn about biofuels through a lab experience. This would add an ability for the team to teach and help our community. We also wanted a place to share our research and a place to house our lakeweed game, so along with the app, I created a website.
Apart from the website and app, we wanted to share this message in as many ways as we could, so we wrote a book and delivered it to several schools. We presented to our local Stansbury Lake Community Council and have shared our app and website with all we have presented to.
During our investigation and throughout the entire project, we experienced a lot of failure, which taught us quickly and may suggest. When we first decided to use an ethanol assay, we failed in an attempt to create a successful fermented mixture, which brought us back into the lab to try again and again until we got it right. Our lab procedure included first fermenting the lakeweed with baker's yeast and water, then using a small sample with the assay to break down the ethanol by enzymes. The mixture is pipetted into small cuvettes, and finally put into a spectrophotometer to read the concentration levels of ethanol. It took our team several tries to get the concentration right.
We learned so much from our failures, and ultimately that we could prove our hypothesis. Our initial lab results showed that a pH of 6 on day 1 produced maximum ethanol. That led us to further experiments. After many attempts, our replication was consistent. We discovered that 12 hours of fermentation with dry lakeweed as opposed to wet lakeweed, we got the highest concentration of ethanol. After that, we developed a distillery to use the fermented mixture for extraction. During the process, we successfully extracted a product we believe could be used to produce a biofuel.
Our conclusion is that although we've not perfected a biofuel from the lakeweed, the levels of ethanol we achieve through our lab testing show it can be done. We feel confident that as cellulosic ethanol research and methods become refined, our lakeweed can serve as a viable biomass source. We have discovered the same solutions to the inversion would help with climate change and reducing our carbon footprint. It is our hope to make a fuel change for today to help our tomorrow.
Also, we want to give a big shout out to all the eCyber mission staff and participants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and thank you, fueling change. Great job. And now let's hear it for all of our STEM in Action grant winners, our national finalists. You guys are absolutely rock stars. Give yourselves a big giant hand. You've been fantastic. You did a great job. We're going to pop over to Colleen now and see if we've got a last round of questions for you.
Yep, sure do. Just letting you guys know, we are at over 7,800 votes in the People's Choice Award, which is amazing, way past the amount of votes last year. I want to let people know they have until 12:30 to submit their votes, and Matt will be announcing who the winners are at the award ceremony next. So the final question that I have today is for Fueling Change. And it is, what was it like experimenting in a real working lab? And what was the most important thing you learned from that experience?
For me personally, it was like super, super cool working in the lab. I had never like done anything like it before. And I got to like learn a lot of new things. So it was super fun and really, really cool.
Awesome.
It was also super cool to be in a lab with like all of that like super high tech equipment that we don't get to use at our schools.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure it was really cool seeing what, if you decide to go down this career path later on. Really cool. Well, great job, you guys. Eric, I'll let you close everything out.
All right, let's give one more hand to our amazing national finalists and our STEM in Action grant winners. Great job. I really hope you guys had fun this week in presenting and learning and all the things you got to do. A lot went into making it possible, but students, I'd like to ask you guys to take a minute and join with me in recognizing some of the specific people you got to work with during this time. Our non-commissioned officers and our scientist and engineer mentors. So we want to recognize them. Working with our 6th grade students were Sergeant First Class Robert Olson and Mr. A.P. Shaw. Let's hear it, 6th grade, for your mentors. Working with the 7th grade students were Sergeant First Class Jason Martin and Dr. Sasha Timorian. So let's hear it, 7th graders, for all your mentors. Great job. Working with our 8th grade students were Sergeant First Class Jeremy Buchholz and Dr. Shannon McGraw. So let's hear it for our 8th grade mentors. And finally, working with our 9th grade students were Sergeant First Class Tonio Pierce and Ms. Ashley Lachetto. So let's hear it for them. And now, students, I want you to take a moment while you are still on mute. That is the important part. But I want you to say thank you to all of the grown-ups who can hear you right now for all of their help, all of their support and encouragement, and all that they've done to help guide you and help make you the fantastic, incredible kids that you are. So let's give all our grown-ups some big thank yous. And before we go, I'm just going to remind everybody one more time to make sure you're voting online. And you can find out who all the winners are at the awards ceremony after this. For everybody watching, if eCyber Mission sounds like something fantastic that you want to do, or you know somebody who should want to do, and it is something fantastic, please visit the eCyber Mission website at www.ecybermission.com. You can find out all about this competition. You can also go to www.usaeop to find out about all of the amazing programs in the U.S. Army STEM outreach portfolio. There's stuff there for students at every grade level and every interest level. So make sure you're checking that out. The one thing that we all know is STEM is a part of everything we do. It's a part of all of the life around us. And there are amazing ways for our students to engage. So I'm going to encourage you all to keep engaging, to bring your friends. Everybody should bring a friend with them next year to engage in a new program, and make sure that you keep moving forward. So that's just about going to bring us to the end of our National Student Showcase. Students, before you get ready for the award ceremony, you'll be getting an email from Alphonsus Baggett, Project Manager for eCyber Mission. And in that email will be a link to a survey from North Carolina State University about your experience with NJEE. So please, students, make sure you take a minute before the awards ceremony to complete that. And with that little piece of housekeeping, I am going to thank everybody who signed in online to watch our incredible student showcase. And I am definitely going to give one more round of applause to all of our incredible, incredible students. Well done, job well done. And thank you so much for being here. Great job, guys. Best wishes, be well, and we will see you all at the awards. Bye.